in our students. Truly, KSU has it all, from our invigorating courses to prepare you for a meaningful career, to a playoff caliber Division I football team that you can cheer alongside Owl Nation. KSU has a wide variety of organizations and research opportunities for you to get involved with. We have 2 beautiful campuses that are easy to call home. Even during a time of social distancing, we have launched more than 1,000 extracurricular activities for students, and you'll find deck chairs, swings, and solar tables for studying all over our campuses. And if you're interested in a world-class honors program, the KSU Honors College is among the best in the state. This is why students who apply to KSU overwhelmingly choose to enroll here. How do we know this? U.S. News & World Report has ranked KSU as the top 15 in the country in yielding student enrollment. At KSU, we place students first in everything we do, from making sure proper health and safety measures are in place during these unusual times, to ensuring students have access to the courses they need to earn their desired degrees. We're doing everything we can to provide an education and experience that sets the standard for what it means to attend a top-tier university. If you choose KSU, you will leave here with a hard-earned degree, fond memories, and a community like no other. Come to KSU to find your wings. Go Owls!
Welcome to KSU. Parent and Family Programs is excited to be the first step on your journey alongside your KSU Owl. Through our digital experience, you'll find wonderful opportunities, even now, to become informed and engaged while supporting your new Owl. Enjoy the different communities of interest, tailored updates and newsletters, calendar of events, as well as support through our caring and dedicated staff. Later, we'll provide you with additional amazing resources as well as unique involvement.
Hello, my name is Adam Calhoun, an admissions recruiter with Kennesaw State, along with being a graduate at KSU too. My area includes Bibb, Camden, Daugherty, Glenn, Houston, Lee, and Lowndes counties. Essentially, the best way to think of my region is a triangle from Macon all the way down to the state line with Florida. My main out-of-state territory is going to be the state of Tennessee, but I'm here to help you with your college journey. I want to make this process easier, more transparent, and less stressful for you and your family. If you have any questions along the way or need someone to talk to, I'm going to be here for you. You can connect with me through Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Calendly, email, or phone. Feel free to check out my profile on our website to set up an appointment, and please join us for Zoom sessions we will be doing for your area. I certainly hope to see you there. We are close to Atlanta for those who love music, sports, or just want to take in what Atlanta has to offer. We offer programs in tons of areas for different interests you may have, all the way up to the graduate level. Plus, our relationships with local businesses and our career development team helps to provide great opportunities like internships, job shadowing, co-ops, and awesome college jobs that can help you now and later once you graduate from KSU. When applying, be sure to keep track of deadlines so that you can always get things in as early as you can. I hope you choose KSU for your future college home, and please know that I am here to help you at any time in finding your way to the Owl Nation. Hooty Hoo!
Welcome to the last day of Virtual Open House. I hope everybody out there in Facebook and YouTube land that you have stuck with us this entire week. We are so thankful, and I am so excited for the incredible guests that I get to sit with today. So we're going to hear all about campus services. They're going to tell you some incredible stuff. But first up, I promised you yesterday, we have a special guest that's coming out to show you Scrappy.
Woo!
This is our giveaway raffle entry bag, very fancy. Scrappy picked out all these items himself in the bookstore, our really cool bookstore.
So fancy.
Scrappy really doesn't want to give up the bag, but Scrappy's going to have to, because we are going to award the winner of the raffle giveaway entry on Monday, October the 26th. The only way to win is to enter. So every session that you watch, right now, campus services, later on, university research, career planning and development. Last session today, student affairs. Make sure every session you watch, you enter to win this giveaway raffle bag. Really cool things inside. Thank you, Scrappy. We appreciate you being here. Have an awesome night.
Hooty Hoo!
Hooty Hoo. Well done. Okay,
fun.
very cool. So I'm Jordan Stevenson. I'm the Director of Student Recruitment, and these are my wonderful friends from Campus Services. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and then we're going to get talking about Campus Services.
Thanks, Jordan. Thank you guys for having us. My name's Tiffany Hartz, and I am a part of the Campus Services family. And we are going to talk to you about all of our departments. We have many departments in Campus Services, and this is Catherine.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Catherine Ellsworth. I'm super excited to be here today. I also work with Campus Services as a marketing communication specialist, and I am an OWL alum. So I'm super excited to be able to talk, to you guys about all of the amazing things that we have for our students, and I can say that I've experienced them firsthand, so I know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
What's that saying? You're not just the owner, you're a client. Like this is not just. I don't just.
It was so good that I came back. You know?
Yeah, right. There you go. Awesome.
Yeah.
Tiffany, you yourself are an OWL as well.
I am. I'm an MBA student here at KSU, and I graduate in just a couple months in December. I will be a part of the Proud OWL alumni family. I'm so excited to be a part of the team
That's
as
gonna
well.
be awesome. We're gonna have to celebrate real big.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like COVID's gonna go away to celebrate your
just
MBA.
for the graduation.
I will
That's
be
right.
celebrating just by myself. I can't wait. It's been a long 2 years, but I'm excited. But thank you.
Very good. Well, thank you all for being with us today. Thank you most of all for all the students and the parents that are out there that are watching this because they desperately want to hear from Campus Services.
Yeah.
We're
Y'all
excited
are
to be
a
here.
hot ticket, right?
Yes.
So, Tiffany, tell everybody out there a little bit about Campus Services.
Sure. So Campus Services is a really big department made up of smaller departments. And these departments are the departments that parents and students have a lot of questions about as they're choosing schools. As you're looking for schools for your student to attend, you have questions about what is the housing like on campus? What is the dining like on campus? Where is my student going to park at? Is there transportation options on campus? And so all of those things that I've mentioned in the bookstore, which is where the great giveaway bag came from, all of those things are a part of the Campus Services department. And so housing is a big part of that. So we're going to get to housing in just a little bit. We're going to talk all about housing. But Campus Services is kind of made up of all of those departments that you might have those questions about. So kind of one great resource I want to make sure that our viewers at home know about today is our Talon One Service Center. And so there's a slide that has contact information with the Talon One Service Center's website and phone number and email. Prospective students, if you're interested in KSU and have questions, this is just a great resource for students coming into KSU or just want to learn a little bit more about KSU, about any of our departments. Just a great resource for you to know about. And we actually have a video that highlights a little bit more about Campus Services departments and tells you a little bit more about what this Talon One Service Center does for you.
Nice.
The Talon One Service Center is a customer service hub dedicated to answering your questions about campus services and its affiliated departments and entities. These include housing and residence life, parking and transportation, university dining, the KSU bookstore, and more. It's a great place to start if you have any campus services related questions. Talon One is staffed with friendly KSU students who are happy to assist you with your questions. These staff members are a great resource, especially for new students, because they can draw from their own experiences with plenty of KSU knowledge to share. Our Talon One team is here to serve you. You can call, email, or visit the Talon One Service Center located inside the Student Center on each campus. Our phone number is 470-578-8663. Or you can email talon1@kennesaw.edu. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. We look forward to serving you during your time here. Welcome to the nest and go Owls!
Okay, so that video highlights very briefly just a little bit about the Talon One Service Center. So we'll give you their contact information again at the end of this session, so you can contact them if you have any questions. But like I mentioned, Talon One is a great resource for questions about housing, which we're going to talk about in a second, and also dining, which we know you probably have questions about too. So dining is actually award-winning. We've got an awesome dining program here at KSU. We have been ranked 5th best in the nation for a few years now. We've received that ranking, and so we're really proud of our dining program. We think we've got awesome food, awesome events, and our people in our dining program are really great as well. So we've got a video to show you about our dining program as well, to show you just a little bit more about how our dining halls work, and to tell you more about our retail dining options like Chick-fil-A and Moe's. So we'll show you that video, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what you can expect at KSU.
Welcome to KSU's award-winning dining program, which is ranked as one of the best in the nation. At KSU, our chefs source fresh ingredients for the menu served at our 2 dining halls, Stingers at Marietta campus and the Commons at Kennesaw. And many of those ingredients are sourced from local and regional farmers and food artisans. In addition to our dining halls, we've partnered with popular national brands like Chick-fil-A, Moe's, and Starbucks to bring some of your favorite restaurants to campus. And Grubhub will help make it easy for you to get it all to go. At our dining halls, our rotating menus offer a broad variety of options, like made-to-order omelets and sandwiches, as well as a selection of internationally inspired cuisines alongside American favorites and home-inspired comfort foods like fried chicken, a KSU tradition on Thursdays. You can also look forward to special themed menus such as our Stingers Steakhouse series and our annual crawfish boil, along with fun events like game night with your friends. We believe that food brings people together, and having a meal plan is a great way to ensure that you have those memory-making college experiences by dining on campus. While students can't beat the convenience and community of eating on campus, there are ample options available for getting your food to go, from the Grubhub app to the takeout club at the dining halls. Regardless of whether you're craving chips and queso, wanting to grab a pizza from the dining hall to heat up late night, or getting Chick-fil-A nugget trays for your study group, University Dining has you covered. We have several meal plan options available for both residential and commuter students, and our meal plans can save you both time and money. Our access and weekly meal plans include discounted entries into Stingers and the Commons. Plus, we offer dining dollars, which students can use to purchase food and beverages sales tax free from any on-campus restaurant, including takeout from the dining halls. You can even pay with dining dollars when ordering on campus through the Grubhub app, picking something up at the market, our on-campus convenience store, or getting a snack from one of the vending machines around campus. All residential students receive a meal plan based on their earned credit hours as a part of their room and board expenses. However, this cost is billed separately from the housing fees. Students can change or upgrade their residential plan up to the drop-add deadline at the end of the first week of each semester. Our website, dining.kennesaw.edu, offers a wealth of information about how to access these services and more. Commuter students can go there to build a customized plan, or you can let us do the work and select one of the pre-built residential meal plans. You can also review our on-campus dining hours, locations, and learn more about our meal plans. So go to dining.kennesaw.edu so you can purchase or upgrade your meal plan and start enjoying some of our delicious food and expand your menu of options. Thank you for taking the time to review our dining options. We look forward to seeing you in one of our dining halls or delivering a takeout option for you next time you get hungry. See you soon.
Awesome. So that video hopefully shows you a little bit more about our dining experience at KSU. We have meal plan information on our website if you're curious about what meal plans might look like for your student. That pricing and things like that haven't been decided for this upcoming school year, but definitely be checking out our dining website, dining.kennesaw.edu, for more information about that. But our food is phenomenal.
Yes.
In our dining halls. And Jordan, I think you have a favorite.
Yeah, I have a tip, right? Like this is how you should approach going into the Commons or into Stingers. So Stingers is on the Marietta campus, the Commons on the Kennesaw campus. And when you go in, this is, unless you're lactose intolerant and
Gluten
you have
intolerant.
celiacs,
Yeah.
you're gluten-free, something like that, this is the way you do it. You go in, and if you're going into the Commons, it's a hard right, like 90 degrees.
Immediately.
Pass by the drink station, and you go straight to the pizza bar.
Yes.
You get what looks to be your favorite piece of pizza, whatever you're looking for, we've got it, and it's phenomenal, made fresh right there in front of you. Yep. You grab a piece of pizza, you don't need a plate. No need for a plate, you're not gonna need it.
Maybe
You
a
just,
plate.
No.
Napkins?
I mean, y'all could because this is your area, but for me, I don't ever get a plate.
No plate
Plates
for
are for
Jordan.
later.
Okay.
I need free hands
Right.
to enjoy the pizza, because I eat with this hand and then make hand motions with the other.
And we have hand sanitizing stations all over.
That's true, yeah. So I can sanitize while I
right.
eat, switch hands for the next one. But you get a piece of pizza, and that's your appetizer to walk around the rest of the Commons to see what else
smart.
is there, right?
Yeah.
And same thing for Stingers, but there's no 90-degree turn. As soon as you go through the turnstiles, you pass Miss Sue, and you go straight to the pizza bar. It's straight ahead, due north. Grab that piece of pizza, walk around. Also, I think, Catherine, we had talked about this the other day. If you're over in the pizza bar area and there are garlic knots,
Always get
don't
garlic
pass them
knots.
up. So maybe that's where
Yes.
And
get
cheesy
a bowl.
bread at Stingers.
Yeah, anything.
A bowl
yeah.
for the garlic knots.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but the cheesy bread at Stingers.
So good.
They make phenomenal cheesy bread. It is basically just pizza without sauce.
Yeah.
But they cut it into squares, and it is chef's kiss. It is magic.
I do
It's
something
amazing.
similar, but with fries. Like instead of pizza, I do fries. So when I was a student, I would walk into the Commons and go straight for Highway 92. That's what it's called, right?
Highway, yeah.
Highway 92. It's our
Or
like
Highway 41.
all-American
41.
Highway 41.
That's right. Highway 41.
Double.
They all
live
sound
off of-
different. I live
You
off
live
of
on
Highway 92.
Well, that's right.
It's a joke for us because 41 goes
right.
north and south,
Yeah.
92 east and west, and
Yeah.
you're just like,
Well,
why?
41
I think-
runs between
Why did you do
campuses,
this?
so that kind of
I think that's what makes more sense. I live off
Yeah.
of Highway 92, so I'm thinking
Yeah.
92. But
I
anyways,
feel
you
you.
go there because that's where they have like the all-American style food, and you do grab a plate. So grab a plate, and then in a little corner of the plate, you're gonna put French fries.
That's right.
And the French fries are your thinking fries, and you will walk around the Commons eating fries as you make decisions based on what there is at Globetrotters or
you go.
apron strings. So that's my hot take.
I love it. We just go opposite directions.
Exactly.
But same mentality.
And if they're sweet potato fries or curly fries, those are good days.
My favorite is coffee. So I'm a coffee drinker. I have coffee hidden. You can't see it, but I'm a coffee drinker every day. And so we've got great coffee on both campuses. So when you walk into the Commons, we've got coffee. As soon as you walk in, the grind station is as soon as you walk in. And they make lattes, they make espresso drinks like right there for
super
you
good.
as soon as you walk in. But then on the Marietta campus, we also have a really cool partnership with Cool Beans. So if you're not familiar with Cool Beans coffee, Cool Beans is actually roasted by an alum. That's a coffee roaster right off the Marietta campus, Marietta Square. That's right. And so we serve Cool Beans coffee in Stingers in Marietta. So that's just a cool way for you to get your coffee fix if you love coffee like me. But some great options: coffee, I love coffee, French fries, and pizza. But lots of
Can't go
other great
wrong.
options in the dining halls as well. So, and in the video mentioned our retail dining options too. So we've got Chick-fil-A, we've got Moe's, Panda Express here on the Kennesaw campus. We've got Starbucks. I love coffee, so Starbucks. I love Starbucks. So if you've got kind of more of a craving for the fast food kind of type options, we've got sandwich places and things like that for you as well.
Yeah.
So I also want to mention that our dining halls are more than just for food. So our dining halls are really a place that community happens and that our students come together.
Yeah.
And so in a second, we're going to talk about housing, and I think students that live on campus have a really enriched experience at KSU. But students that have meal plans and that eat in the dining halls also are a part of that on-campus experience, even if they're commuting to campus.
Yeah, for sure.
Because a lot of community happens in the dining halls, whether students are coming to eat in between classes with their buddies, or if they are studying in the dining halls. It's kind of a place where life happens between classes, is kind of what we like to say.
And lots of cool events,
That's
too.
right, lots of events too. So in a traditional year that's not during COVID, we've had programs like bingo nights and karaoke and things like that.
Luau's.
Luau's, we've had luau's as well. That's what the picture is on the screen if you can see it. So we have had events like that, but this year, even in a COVID world, you know, we're having safe events in our dining halls as well. So we have an event called Stinger's Steakhouse, and that's where students get a premium entree. They get a delicious meal, and it's kind of a premium cut of meat, like a prime rib, or a really nice cut of steak, or a really nice Angus burger, and a side and a dessert. And that's something that they can experience in Stingers right now. And we also have an event, like this is another great example of a safe event that we're doing. Last week, there was the Fresh Air Fridays. You guys heard about this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So the Marching Owls were performing on the green, and then in the dining halls, we did a promotion where if students took their takeout from the dining halls, we gave them free blankets. So they could go and have picnics on the green. So it was a great way for them to use their meal plans and get a free giveaway from us, and just go enjoy the beautiful weather. It was an awesome day.
I love watching some of our tour guides post
Yes.
on Instagram about coming to get food and get their blankets, and I thought it's so awesome.
Yeah, and then they got to celebrate the Marching Owls
Yeah.
too, who had a phenomenal performance out on the green. So, so we really tried to make sure that the dining experience is a really part of the student experience, and that those things aren't separate. They're really integrated, and they're a part of the same. So, so that's just a little bit about dining. But now we're gonna take some questions from you guys.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fire away.
All right, guys. So since you briefly talked about pizza and the garlic knots and all of that stuff, would you like to elaborate on what other options our students have as far as getting something to eat?
Sure.
What else do you need?
Yeah.
I'm pizza and French fries.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I can start, and then if you guys think of other things to add. So in the Commons, we have several different stations. We have kind of an Asian fusion station, and we have like a Mexican fusion station. So those are kind of staples. They always have food all the time. So there's like a make your own nacho bar, taco bar kind of station where you can DIY. You can like make your own stuff. But you can also like make your own. A lot of people will use that to make their own taco salads if they want. If you're trying to be healthier, we have salad bars. Right now our dining halls are not self-serve, so we have staff that are actually serving the students in the dining halls, but you can still enjoy all of these options. And then we have burgers and fries kind of just on a regular basis. Burgers, fries, hot dogs, things like that,
Grilled
like tater
cheese.
tots.
So good.
Grilled cheese, those are kind of staples that are always around. The pizza, the garlic knots, like those are things that are kind of always on the line and available. But we have some stations like Globetrotters in the Commons and Apron Strings, and those are stations that are constantly changing. So the lunch and the dinner options for those stations are always going to be a little different, just based on what the menu of the day is. So sometimes you might see there might be like a pot roast option that day, or a pork loin, but we have fried chicken Thursdays every single
Some
Thursday.
of their fish options are phenomenal.
Really
Like,
good fish. Salmon.
So good. The salmon,
salmon.
at Stingers. Oh my gosh.
we
It's a
love the
good
salmon
day
at
when there's
Stingers.
salmon.
That's so true. Yes, and so we also have like crawfish boils and things like that our students really look forward to. So we try to mix it up. We have a variety, but you know, students can also come in and get cereal and sandwiches and a salad bar too if they're just wanting to do something simple for lunch.
Yeah, and I think it's good to point out that in these options, there's something for everyone. So if you have some sort of allergy or dietary restriction, the food is clearly labeled, and our staff is so approachable. So if you are trying, maybe like having a little trouble finding something that's right for you, they will walk you through the stations and tell you what things are gluten-free, dairy-free, or whatever it is that needs to fit your dietary restriction.
Really nice.
Yes, our chefs are, they want to make your meal plan and your experience work for you. So we've had people reach out to us that are like, I feel like there's not a lot of options for me. I have a really restrictive allergy, but they will walk them through and show them exactly how they prepare the food food and say, this station is really safe for you to eat because we don't use this kind of ingredient here. This is a good place for you to eat. Or they will make custom food for you that works within your allergies. They want to do that. They want to make sure you get the most of your experience on campus.
Cool, good question.
Question regarding meal plan specifically. Is it a requirement for every student that isn't an online specific student to have a meal plan of some sort coming to Kennesaw State?
Great question. Do you want to answer that?
Sure. So it is not a requirement for every student to get a meal plan. However, it is required for residential students to have a meal plan. So any student that is choosing to live on campus, whether they are upper class or first year, will be required to purchase a meal plan. It really just makes the most sense for them because they are on campus all the time. However, our commuter students are always able to purchase a meal plan, and we highly recommend it. Not only because the food is phenomenal and we've gone on and talk about it, but it is so convenient for you to have a meal plan. I was a commuter student when I, came to Kennesaw, and I had a meal plan, and it was honestly one of the best decisions because I was able to eat between my classes.
You didn't have to drive somewhere.
Yeah, not to have to go off campus to find food, to come back, to have to park my car again, and so just being able to also feel more connected to campus because my friends who were residential students would be like, hey, we're going to dinner. I had a 5 o'clock class, and it's like, hey, we're going to dinner after class. Do you want to come? Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Helps you make friends, helps you be a part of those study groups and things like that.
Yeah, so it's not required for our commuter students, but highly, highly recommended just because it helps you feel so connected to campus. And you don't want to miss out on this great food.
That's right.
So.
Yeah, and I did the opposite thing. When I was later on as an upperclassman and I stopped having a meal plan, I really regretted it, to be honest. Like, from my experience, I really missed out later on. And I had to pay more money when I did want to go and meet with my friends versus having the meal plan where you don't pay as much money.
Yeah, there is cost savings. There's cost savings definitely having that meal plan on the front end of the year, which is a great point. Yeah, great questions.
Cool. Any other questions? Oh, awesome.
Yes. So as far as the different dining plans that Kennesaw State has to offer, could you guys expound on that? Like if there's unlimited entrances and stuff like that?
Yeah, sure. So our meal plans for this coming year, so our meal plans for the spring have been determined. They are going to be exactly like the fall. So if anybody's asking that question that is maybe a current student, that information is going to be on our website very soon, but they will look exactly the same as they did in the fall. But if you are coming in for fall 2021, the meal plans have not yet been decided yet. So we try to communicate that information as soon as we can, but that information has to get approved by the Board of Regents. So as that information becomes available, we will update our website at dining.kennesaw.edu. But the structure of those meal plans right now could look different next year because this year they were really based on creating a really COVID-friendly environment and giving students that flexibility to use their meals when they could, when it worked with their schedules. So it might look a little different next year, and so you can look at our website to get a good idea, but more information will come out soon about that. Closer to the start of the fall.
I think a hot tip here would be like once you're accepted to the university, start checking your student email as soon as possible because that's where we communicate so much of this information. So if you're interested in getting a meal plan, if you're interested in living on campus, if you're interested in any of these campus services things, we will communicate with you early and often via your student email. So once you get accepted, start checking that, and then you'll learn more information, when it's time to learn it.
Create good habits now.
Yes.
That's right.
Daily
Absolutely.
check your Kennesaw email address because not only is Campus Services going to email you, but Financial Aid's going to email you there.
Yep.
The registrar is going to email you there.
Very important information in there. Absolutely.
Yep, absolutely.
And the most heartbreaking thing I think for us too is on orientation day where people come to us and they're like, oh, I had no idea I was supposed to apply for housing or something.
Yeah.
So be checking your email. It's the best thing you can do for yourself to set yourself up for success.
Right.
Yes.
Very cool.
All right. So I think now we're going to transition into talking a little bit more about housing, but we're excited to take more of your questions at the end of this. So if you have questions about housing or other campus services topics, keep commenting away and we will take more of those at the end.
Yeah, so housing and residence life is one of the most exciting parts about about coming to college for a lot of students. It's kind of that first sense of independence and freedom. And so before we dive into housing, we want to show you a quick video and then we'll go into more detail.
Housing and residence life offers many great amenities to students living on campus, from conveniently located communities that are close to everything campus has to offer, to fun and educational programs organized by our professional staff, as well as residential assistants, or RAs. We have several first-year communities between both campuses, which include KSU Place, University Village, and University Village Suites in Kennesaw, and Hornet Village and University Columns in Marietta. Visit our website at ksuhousing.kennesaw.edu to take a virtual tour of each of these communities and to check out the amenities available in each bedroom, apartment, and community. Once you get to campus, the fun really begins. We have move-in weekend events that kick off the first night of move-in, and there are tons of events happening around campus the first few weeks of school. There will be plenty of opportunities to get involved and make new connections within your housing community and around campus. Visit the housing website, ksuhousing.kennesaw.edu, for more information, and reach out to the Talon One Service Center with your questions. We can't wait to meet you and welcome you to the nest.
All right, so that was a really quick video. It's a super highlighted look at housing and residence life, but we're gonna dive into, some things that maybe you have some questions about a little bit more, but we want to start out with, why do students want to live on campus? Why is it such a big part of the college experience, right? And there's a lot of reasons, but I think top three would be that students want to feel connected. They want to feel connected to the campus culture. They want to feel like they're a part of something almost bigger than they are, and living on campus just, lets you do that. The second would be that it's been shown that students who live on campus perform better academically. They're able to focus on their studies a lot more. They're able to just not have to think about so many moving pieces. You can walk to class, you can walk to the library.
You're closer to those resources.
Yeah, absolutely. Your resources right there. And the connectivity that it just gives you, right? So we have so many ways for students to feel like they're a part of housing, whether that be through our programming, through being able to be close to those resources, and the support that you get from our staff when you're here. And so I know that living on campus definitely marks you when you first go to college. I know you have a funny story about that when you first went.
Yeah. This is part of my story is that, especially coming from admissions, working in admissions my entire career, we hear at KSU admissions all the time about parents and families and students being so shocked how nice housing is here at KSU. Just the options that they're going to have. And that they cannot believe that this is college. And so I usually put it in perspective and say, it's nothing like what the parents have had or what I had, because I had concrete block walls. You weren't allowed to put anything up, so no posters, no nothing. You couldn't put up on the concrete block wall. So, and then I could reach out from my bunk bed and touch my roommate because he was that close, and we liked each other, and that was fine. But nothing like the incredible experience you have at KSU. Either campus.
We've come a long way.
Oh, absolutely, right. And that was my experience for 2 years straight. So we had community showers. They were pink tile walls, which was, for an 18-year-old male, that was very interesting to me. My residence hall was built in 1941, so just anyways.
A lot of history there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
a lot of character.
Or character. That's the way to say it.
So we definitely want to show you some of our housing options here on the Kennesaw campus and the Marietta campus. And so we're going to show you this quick slide, and these are some outside views, obviously, of our residence halls. But on the Kennesaw campus, for first-year students, we have University Village Suites, University Village Apartments, and KSU Place Apartments. And these are all really awesome first-year housing options. And really, when you compare them to some of the other schools, you're like, I get a full apartment my first year? That's crazy, right? And so the suites are what we call suite style, which means that they don't have a full kitchen inside of them. They have a small kitchenette, but these buildings do have community kitchens on the second and fourth floor of the buildings, which is a really awesome amenity for these students. And University Village and KSU Place are full-size apartments. So a lot of these units have washers and dryers inside of them. They have a full kitchen, living room area. And so when you come in, you're going to be living in an apartment with your roommates. You get to cook your own meals if you want to. Most people don't want to. That's why we have.
That's why they have meal plans.
Yeah, that's why we have meal plans.
That's okay.
But still, these are really, really awesome options for our first-year students. And then on the Marietta campus, we have the Hornet Village Suites, which is very similar to University Village Suites. It's a suite-style apartment, Howell Hall, and University Columns. Now, Howell Hall is a traditional style residence hall. So
no pink bathrooms.
But no
though.
pink bathrooms.
No pink bathrooms.
Yeah.
I
So for the
promise.
2020-21 year, Howell Hall is offline, which means that there are no students living in it right now because it is being remodeled. So
Exciting.
yeah, so this is really
Agreed.
exciting.
It's gonna be so cool.
Yeah, and
Yes.
the designs are really like modern and
very modern.
It's kind of like a loft vibe, is what we've been told.
Yep.
So we're really
Industrial,
excited.
yes.
Yeah, we're so excited for students to be able to live in Howell Hall again. And there are a lot of really good benefits to living in traditional style housing. Students say
community.
that the community is
Yes.
so strong with these students. And so we're so excited to be able to have Howell Hall as an offering again. And we have University Columns, which is a very unique style of housing. I think that
unique.
the Marietta campus has the most unique offering of housings because we have suite style, we have the traditional style, and we have University Columns, which are houses. They are very large houses, and they have a full-size kitchen. They have a washer dryer inside them, a very large gathering space for the roommates. But they used to be like Greek-style houses, and we've turned them into a residence hall. So they're very unique, like I said, on the Marietta campus, but there is something for everyone. And so we're so excited to show this to you. And you might be wondering what they look like on the inside. Well, we created this small video that I want to talk you through on how you can see our virtual tours. So we would love to show you every single one of our residence halls in person, but we're just not able to do that. But if you go to our website, ksuhousing.kennesaw.edu, on our menu, you'll be able to pick the first year housing options and be able to see all of them right there for both campuses. Once you pick which residence hall you would like to look at, the first thing you're going to be able to see is this gray box that takes you into a virtual tour. And in the virtual tour, you're able to click and drag your mouse to be able to see every corner of of the unit, which is so cool.
That's
Nothing
so
is
cool.
hidden. You can see every little
Literally
bit of
every corner. And if you see any of those little blue bubbles and dots on the wall, those are call outs that tell you the measurements, how high the wall is, what comes inside the unit. And literally you're able to turn like 360 degrees up, down, side, to the left. And we have virtual tours for every single space. So if you don't see it up there, if you scroll down, you're able to see other parts of it. This one is a community kitchen in University Village Suites. But if you're looking to see what KSU Place looks like, the Village, Hornet Village,
even what a laundry room
or
looks
laundry
like.
room looks like, you're able to
have
use
that.
them. And one cool thing about this is if you have virtual reality goggles, you can like walk through the space. Yeah.
Or if your phone is converted into VR, if you can set it up that way, you can view it as a virtual reality as well.
Yeah,
That is so cool.
we love that we have this offering available for every single one of our floor plans and every single one of our residence halls. But we do have an exciting announcement, and Tiffany's going to talk a little bit about it.
Yes, so we have, on the next slide, we have virtual, so Catherine just talked to you about our virtual tours. If you want to see tours at home, from the comfort of your own living space. But you can also come see us and come see housing in person from November 23rd to December 18th. We have very limited spots available, but admissions is giving campus tours during that time. And we are, we're adding housing back in as an option for that tour. So if you're coming for a campus tour from November 23rd through December 18th, the admissions tour guides will be taking you through to see one different property on each campus. So you get a chance to see University Village Suites on the Kennesaw campus and Hornet Village Suites on the Marietta campus. So I will say these tours are hot commodities, right?
Yeah.
They go really quickly because it's such a popular time for students to go for tours. So if you're interested in seeing housing in person, highly recommend you book a tour by going to visit.kennesaw.edu. Not y'all's website, not as familiar with it, of course. But definitely book a tour so that you can come and see housing. We're just doing it during this time. It's our online learning period, so there will be less students here. So really, it's a great time to come so that we can, make sure it's as safe as possible, really.
This is inside information that Tiffany's sharing with you. This is why you watch Facebook Lives, whether it be admissions doing it or campus services.
The first time we're talking about this.
Right, so this is like secret information. So if you're out there and you're watching Facebook, you're watching YouTube right now, maybe you keep it to yourself. Maybe you tell your best friend, hey, we're going to Kennesaw during this time because we're going to see our future housing. You know,
Yeah.
and this is the time to do it.
That's right.
So, but this is why you participate in these types of events.
Absolutely.
And the good news is this is actually, that window of time is also when our housing application opens up, which we're just about to talk about. So it'll give you a great idea of maybe what your options might be when it's time to book your housing in the spring.
Yeah.
Nice.
So the housing application, you know, every time this comes around, every year, it just gets more and more exciting. But the housing application, you know, this is the information that you've been waiting for. And for first year students, for the 21-22 year, the housing applications opened on December 1st. So it's so easy to remember. First day of December, that's when our housing application opens. And
Pretty
so,
much rhymed.
yeah,
It's so easy to remember.
it opens the 1st
day
of December. Wow.
You can make a song, a country singer, a country artist in the
We'll
making.
do it. Catherine and I will do it.
Yeah, we're gonna make a song.
Take it on the road.
But we're so excited to announce this date. So this is just for first year students. And so thing to remember is that you have to be accepted to the university to apply for housing.
Right.
So if you haven't been accepted yet or you haven't applied yet, what are you waiting for? Apply now.
Yes, apply to the university.
The earlier you get accepted to the university, the earlier you can apply for housing, and that just makes your life so much easier.
Absolutely.
Really, the earlier that you do the steps in our housing application, the better it will set you up for success as you keep going through the steps. So we have 3 steps in total for the housing application. Step 1, you're starting the application, you're signing your license agreement, and you're letting us know, I'm so excited to live on campus. Step 2 is an optional step, but a highly recommended one. It is roommate selection. So March 2021, sounds so weird saying 2021, but come on 2021.
Super
We're ready
future.
for it. We're ready
ya.
for it.
Yep.
But March 2021 is when roommate selection opens. So again, this is an optional step, but if you have someone that you know you want to live with and they're also coming to KSU, you can choose to room together, or you can choose a roommate during this time. So during step 1 of the housing application, you're filling out your profile, you're telling us about yourself, and then in step 2, you're gonna be able to compare other students' profiles and be able to choose a student and ask them like, hey, do you wanna live with me? We have a lot of things in common. It's kind of like a dating profile, but like less creepy.
Well, we give you matches.
Yeah, we do give you potential matches, and
Yeah.
it's like
Service.
like
Yeah, we give you a
98%
percentage.
compatible,
Whoa.
85% compatible.
Okay.
You can message each other. You can share contact information if you want to. We're not gonna, force you to. But awesome step for you if you want to live with a roommate, or you can choose to have one randomly selected for you and say bon chance for yourself. But
You
very
have to
exciting.
teach me what that means. I have no
Good
idea.
luck.
what you
Good
just
luck
said.
in French.
Oh, thank you. My French stopped at 1st grade, so.
Oh,
Yep.
first grade French. That's
I grew up in North Carolina at that point in time, and you took a language. Anyways, long story short, yeah, pretty cool. It was a good idea. Yeah.
interesting. Well, step 3 of the housing application, April 2021, you're going to be selecting your room. So there are some schools that place students in bedrooms.
That's right.
We don't do that here. We let you select what room. And that's
Really
when we
nice.
have such amazing virtual tours, so you can see each space and start comparing them and say, I think I like this community better than this one, or the price of this community makes more sense for me financially than this one. And so
And you can prioritize them.
Yeah.
So you can start to say, I really want to live in the suites, but I would also be cool with living in the village. And
Yeah.
then I would my third choice would be KSU Place. And so then when you go into room selection, you're already kind of ready.
Yeah.
Because you've had a chance to look at all of our virtual tours.
Absolutely. And so all of this will be determined what we call time tickets, and every student will have their own time ticket for when they can go in and start selecting your room. Important to know that your time ticket is based on when you sign your license agreement in step 1. So again, the earlier you do it, the better time ticket you're gonna get. And I know that you maybe have a lot more questions about this, but mark your calendars, because we're going to be doing a Facebook Live event similar to this, but only on the housing application. So I will be joined by someone from the housing team who is super knowledgeable about this entire process.
The most knowledgeable.
The most knowledgeable. He's kind of the head honcho of this
He knows
process.
it better than any of us. He's an expert.
Yeah, so it'll be me and Chris, and we will be talking about the housing application in detail. So November 18th at 7 p.m. on the KSU Facebook page. We'll also share it to the Housing and Residence Life page. But you definitely don't want to miss this. If you're interested in living on campus, we're going to go into so much more detail than we're able to do now and answer all of your questions. And we're really, really excited about that. So we hope that you're able to join us on that date. And I know that we've kind of chatted a lot, and so we'll open it up right now for questions about housing or other campus services.
Perfect. Fire away.
All right, guys. So, if you guys could explain if there is a live-on requirement for either our Kennesaw campus or our Marietta campus or both.
Question.
Sure.
Yes.
So it's kind of like a two-parted answer, right?
Part
So part one is no. There is not a live-on requirement for students that have Kennesaw campus-based majors. So if you are a student who has a major that is based on the Kennesaw campus, then no, there's no live-on requirement for you. If you are a student with a Marietta-based major, so a Marietta campus-based major, then yes, there is a live-on requirement. And you might be asking yourself, why? Why do we do this? This is confusing. Well, the reason we do this is because our Marietta campus are our STEM-based majors for the most part. And it's been proven that those kinds of majors perform so much better academically when they are on campus because their classes require so much more.
They're more rigorous.
Yeah. And so it's kind of a two-part, and if you have more questions about that, feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to answer that in more detail. But that's kind of the answer right there. Marietta, yes. Kennesaw, no. And if you're not sure where your campus is based, you can actually look that up online. I don't remember the website exactly, but
We
it's
link to it on our housing website.
We do.
So if you want to visit our housing website and go to the Marietta live-on requirement information on our website, we link to those majors so you can find out which major
is on what campus.
you are and which campus you're associated with. Yeah.
Adam.
Is it restricted just to one roommate that you can choose, or is there a possibility of choosing more than one roommate when you're coming to either campus?
Yeah, that's a great question. We only allow you to select one preferred roommate. And the reason we do this is because when you go into room selection, it can become kind of tricky when there is more than one other person that you are selecting a bed for. So in times past, we did this where you could select up to 4 people or 3 other people to live with you. And when it came time to room selection, it just got a little bit crazy and it wasn't the best student experience. And so we've changed that. So if you are coming in and you're very popular and all of your best friends are coming to Kennesaw and you say me, Samantha, Jane, and Mary want to live all together. So two of you can be in one room pairing and then the other people can be in another room pairing, and when it comes time to room selection, you can chat with each other and say, we're selecting this room and these beds, let's try to do it together.
Nice.
That's why it's so important to tune into our housing application Facebook Live event, because we will go into so many more details about that.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so this can kind of tie into what we were talking about. So how competitive is it to get a room on campus?
Great question.
Yeah.
I can take this one.
Sure.
So it's super competitive, and I don't want to I don't want to create any panic with that. But we don't have as much housing on campus as we wish we had for all of our incoming students that want housing. So really, and that's a bummer for us because we wish that we could give housing to every student that's coming to KSU that wants housing. But that's why it's so important to apply early to KSU and to apply for housing as soon as you've committed to KSU. Yeah. Apply as soon as you can, December 1st. As soon as our application opens, just to guarantee that you've applied as early as you can to increase the likelihood that you get housing, because it is so competitive. But we really encourage you, as long as you apply super early, your chances are really good of getting housing. So just apply as early as you can, and we'll cross our fingers for you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep. Adam.
So I had a question regarding Living Learning Communities, I believe the acronym LLC.
Yeah.
And if that is a separate application process or is that all in one with the housing program?
Yeah, so Living Learning Communities have now been rebranded to Living Learning Villages. Same concept, we just gave it a new name. We like villages a little bit more, it makes it feel more homey.
Fun,
Yeah. So Living Learning Villages, if you're a student or you, the student, are interested in living in one, basically what a Living Learning Village is a more specialized housing experiences for students who have common interests. And so we have Living Learning Villages for students who are interested in gaming, or students who are first-time generation college students.
Or outdoor adventures. If you like to hike, things like that. Or if you're an engineer major.
Yeah. So we have lots of different options on both campuses for first year and upper class students. And so if you're interested in a Living Learning Village, you would tell us that you're interested in one during the housing application. So it is part of the first step of the housing application. You would tell us, I'm interested in this one, and then you would continue the process that way. So if you're interested in a Living Learning Village, we'll talk a little bit more about them during our Facebook Live event on November 18th. There's information about them on our website as well, but you would do that through the housing application.
And in addition to that, there are, for some communities, additional applications to become a part of that community. So Honors is a great example. So we have Honors Living Learning Villages on both campuses, on Marietta and Kennesaw. But in order to be accepted into the Honors Living Learning Village, you have to be accepted into the Honors program. And so you have to apply to both the Honors housing and the Honors program and be accepted to both in order to live in our Honors Living Learning Villages. So we're going to go into more detail about stuff like that during our Facebook Live event on November 18th. So we hope that you will tune in if you have more questions like that.
Good plug. Another plug.
I know, we're going to say it like
we're going
10
to
more
keep
times.
plugging it.
Yeah,
And it's
November
going to be full
18th.
of awesome information. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so I know that we've talked about a lot of freshman housing, but we are getting a lot of questions for upperclassmen and transfer students. What are their housing options like?
Yeah, so upper class students and transfer students are considered upper class students for us. The housing application for them for the 21-22 year opens on January 6th at 10 a.m. So it opens at a different time, and the housing options are different. So on the Kennesaw campus, Austin Residence Complex, or ARC for short, is the upper class option. And then on the Marietta campus, we have University Commons and University Courtyard apartments. So those are the options for upper class students there. You can actually view those on our website as well. Our housing options for upper class students are a little bit more limited and a little bit more competitive than even first year options because they're just less quantity of them available. And so if you're interested, again, in living on campus as an upper class student, apply as early as possible. That application opens January 6th, and more information is available on our website.
Awesome.
I had a question regarding limitations with each housing process. Now, the question mentioned specifically like TV size and electronics that you can bring with you. I'm guessing those are going to be included with the housing process where you choose. They'll have each will be specific to the housing.
So we talk a lot more about that when we start thinking about move-in. So when you're applying for housing, your main goal should be to get a room on campus.
That's right.
Once you secured that room on campus in April-ish, around that time, then we're going to transition our conversations into move-in. And so before move-in, we do our best to get you really prepared. We give you packing lists. We give you a do not pack list.
Yeah.
And
like
then
that
more
What to
information.
leave at home.
What to leave at home.
Like your dog or your cat.
Yeah, don't bring them.
Yeah.
But as far as like TV sizes and electronics and things like that you can bring, we don't really restrict that much on that.
Except for routers.
Yeah, routers, Wi-Fi, don't bring that. We provide
have great
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
We do.
Awesome Wi-Fi in our residence halls.
But use your best judgment. Maybe in a smaller residence hall room, an 80-inch TV might not be the
Might
best
not work.
option,
Your
right?
roommates
I don't
might
know.
also not
Right.
love that.
You
All
can't
about
mount
priorities.
them.
No, I think they would love it.
If you're in the gaming community, they would absolutely
love it. Yeah,
That's true.
But
That's
you
true.
can't mount anything on the wall. So if you bring a TV, make sure it has a stand so it can stand on its own on a TV stand or on your dresser. But we will give more information about do's and don'ts before you move in.
You bring an 80-inch TV, you have to mount it on the ceiling, facing down.
Scary.
Our
When-
facilities people are going to be like, what are you doing?
Let me tell you my old man college story. So when I went to college, I had an 11-inch TV.
Wow.
You probably
11.
didn't even know they made them that small. 11-inch TV.
Laptops are
That's like
I
smaller
mean,
than
yeah,
a
it's
piece of
like,
paper.
well, I didn't have a laptop, by the way, either. Like that
Right.
wasn't a thing. I mean, it was, but only rich people had that. So I had an 11-inch TV that was my family's travel TV, which now we talk about 1%ers. A travel TV that we had a Suburban. They would shove it in the seat between the front
It had
two
a
seats.
handle.
Had a
My dad
handle
used
on
to
the
do that
top,
for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
and it had a VCR built in. So it was top notch.
Fancy.
It was white. So yeah, really, really cool. That was my TV. I did play video games on it, so pretty cool.
Like your Atari.
Yeah. Dang, that's savage. Oh, what a joke. That was a good one. That was a good
People in
one.
the comments are like, what is an Atari?
Yeah, exactly. They have to look it up. Yeah, good point. No, they've seen like what is that? Ready Player One, so they probably know.
That's
But
funny.
yeah, I had a PlayStation. It was the very first edition of a PlayStation.
exciting.
Yeah. But I still remember one of the guys down the hall in my traditional residence hall brought in this giant, what was brand new technology, a flat screen TV.
Wow. The one with the huge back.
Oh yeah, it was a giant back.
Took up a whole room.
I mean, that thing probably weighed 200 pounds.
Oh yeah.
That's so
But
crazy.
a giant to us was like, I think it was like 32 inches, and we were like,
But probably awesome for like football games and stuff like that.
oh yeah, anything, right?
Yeah.
Anything, yeah. So anyways,
awesome.
the good old days.
We've
So
come
now,
a long way
Now you can
with
carry an
technology.
80-inch TV by yourself.
Right, because they're this thin.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Cool. Good stories. Okay.
I think we have time for
That's
one
just
more
for me.
question.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
All right, so there's a lot of people asking questions about our wait list. So what does that look like when it comes to students? How long students will be on it? Stuff like that.
Sure. So the wait list. We do get lots of questions about the wait list. However, the wait list is not something that you need to worry about if you apply early. So our wait list is really for students who either wait to apply or wait to the university and get accepted a lot later. We do tend to hit a wait list every year because, like Tiffany was saying, we just have more demand than housing available. What we like to tell students on the wait list is to be patient. And I know that sucks to hear, and nobody wants to hear that. But really, that's kind of your best course of action, is to be patient. And so you'll be able to see, as a student, you'll be able to see what place you are on the wait list, and that number is going to be your best indicator, right? So that number will start to go down as we begin to place students. And our wait list, we usually hit around middle of May is kind of when I want to say middle, end of May, and especially June and July. So those summer months is when we're looking at a wait list, but we will place students from the wait list as beds become available. So we don't just like hoard them. Like if a bed becomes available, we try to get a student in there as quickly as possible. And so if you do, see a wait list, watch your number, reach out to the Talent One Service Center if you've got questions, and make the decision that works best for you and your family. And so if you're able to wait a little longer and be on that wait list for a little longer, wait for a bed to become available, that's awesome. We tend to place students well into the beginning of the fall semester. But if you know that you need to secure housing as quickly as possible, then go ahead and give us a call, cancel your license agreement with us, and look for off-campus housing options as well. For the spring semester, I know that maybe we have some students thinking about spring. We are on a wait list for that as well right now. I was told by our team that we will begin placing more students starting on Monday. And so we are waiting to start making sure that we've got a good number of beds available to start placing students in. So Monday, you should start seeing that number kind of change if you're looking for beds for the spring 2021 semester. If you don't, see a huge change, feel free to reach out to us again, to the Talent One Service Center. They're happy to answer your questions. But again, just have a little bit of patience on that wait list.
And we will continue placing, just like for the fall, where we place into September, we will place into January for our spring beds that are available as well. So as beds become available, we will place.
Pay attention.
That's right. Just pay attention.
Be ready.
Watch your email.
There you
Watch
go.
your phone. We call and email.
Wise words from Campus Services. Y'all are fantastic. I always love doing these kinds of things with y'all because you're so wonderful to work with. Our Campus Services folks are truly phenomenal professionals, and they truly care about you. So we hope that you find your home, your next nest here at KSU. We are at the end of our session.
Yeah,
so
that flew. That
time
flew
goes
by.
Yeah, more owl jokes flying. Yeah, puns.
Unintended that time.
Yeah, right.
That was
That was
unintended.
just well said. We have thoroughly enjoyed being with y'all, and get ready for the next session. It is career planning and development and undergraduate research, so some heavy hitters, really cool things happening here at the university. A reminder, fill out your raffle giveaway. So make sure you do that if you haven't done it yet this session. We had our special visitor on earlier. So make sure you go to the raffle giveaway. And we always end with Owl Eyes and a Hooty Hoo. So y'all ready to do it with me?
Yeah, before we do that, we want to make sure that people know that our contact
Oh,
information
yeah,
is
good call,
on
good call.
the screen. So our social media handles, those are all of our Instagram handles, our websites, and Talent One. Can't forget Talent One. If you've got any questions, feel free to DM us on Instagram, message us on Facebook, call Talent One. We're here to service you. And, we're just so excited to welcome you to the nest. So, Hooty Hoo.
It's gonna be a good
Hooty
year.
Hoo.
Hooty Hoo. Thanks you guys so much for having us.
You don't go to Kennesaw State just for a degree. You go to find your element. You go to find your rhythm. You go to find your community. You go to find your wings. Find your wings at Kennesaw State University. You don't go to Kennesaw State just for a degree. You go to find your imagination. You go to find your spirit. You go to find your dedication. You go to find your wings. Find your wings at Kennesaw State University.
Greetings and welcome to Kennesaw State University. I'm Dr. Sylvia Carey Butler, Chief Diversity Officer here at Kennesaw, and I work in the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, where we are charged with fostering an inclusive learning and work environment that promotes an understanding of and appreciation for differences, and through our initiatives and programs, services, and trainings offered. The Office of Diversity and Inclusion offers a variety of learning and work opportunities. We have our Student Diversity Ambassadors program, where students get a chance to participate in programs that help their peers to have a welcoming and affirming experience. The Student Diversity Ambassadors receive a yearly stipend and expand the reach of the office. The Office of Diversity and Inclusion offers a wide variety of workshops such as developing cultural competencies, unconscious bias, and how to become an ally. Our office also hires student workers who have the opportunity to assist with programming and research as we prepare for campus events. We hope that you will choose to come to Kennesaw State University and take advantage of the many opportunities that Kennesaw State has to offer students. What separates us from other colleges and universities is our diversity. We are a vibrant and authentically diverse community committed to your success and engagement. I look forward to seeing you on campus. Go Future Owls.
Well, Hooty Hoo, everybody. Welcome to our second session for our virtual open house today. My name is Jacinta Luster. I'm the manager of admissions. We have some of our special campus partners here with us to talk about undergraduate research and talk about career planning and development. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves and then we'll get started with our session.
Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Amy Buddy. I am a professor of psychology and also the director of the Office of Undergraduate Research.
And I'm Dr. Anna Beta, and I'm the Executive Director of Transition Support and Career Development, which means I oversee orientation and, for tonight's purposes, career planning and development.
Awesome. I've got some heavy hitters here, so it's pretty awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming and being a part of Virtual Open House and talking about your departments. Before we get started, remember we have this amazing raffle going on. So if you saw Scrappy earlier, you saw that he had this wonderful bag holding up. So make sure you enter the raffle so you can possibly win some amazing goodies. We don't know what's in the bag, but you know, it'll be a surprise and everybody will get to, you know, say ooh and ah if you win. So make sure that you enter the raffle throughout your time here for Virtual Open House. So we're going to get started. Make sure also, if you are watching on YouTube or Facebook, make sure that you cast it out. Make sure you can watch it on a computer or watch it on your TV. We've got all these new fancy things that are going on with TVs and computers nowadays, so why not watch it on the big screen? So pull up your YouTube, pull up your Facebook, watch, and interact with us. Also, we have some amazing people from each department in the chat. So if you have questions, make sure you leave those questions in the chat and we'll answer those later on in our presentation, which is really great. All right, so let's get started with undergraduate research. Amy.
Thank you. Well, this is the Amy and Anna show. I am in great company here. We're going to start with undergraduate research. And I wanted to give you a little bit of a definition of what this means. You might be thinking, that's very obvious, right? It's research by an undergraduate, and you are correct. It is research by an undergraduate, but there's a little bit more to it. And I like the definition that comes from the Council on Undergraduate Research, which is the National Society for Undergraduate Research. It's an inquiry or investigation conducted by an undergraduate student that makes an original intellectual or creative contribution to the discipline, which is a mouthful, but I like it because it works for all the disciplines. So some of you out there are biology majors and maybe you'll be working in a lab or you'll be working out on the field. Some of you are dance majors and you're going to be doing dance scholarship. You're going to be making an original contribution to the field of dance by maybe doing some kind of choreography. So whatever your major is, I promise you, you can get involved. We have ways. We don't let you go rogue. We have support for you. So there will be a faculty or a staff member who supervises your work just to make sure that you're doing it correctly and you're doing ethical research and all of that. And we in the Office of Undergraduate Research are really big on what I like to call dissemination. It's a fancy word for getting you out there. Think about that definition. You're making an original intellectual or creative contribution to the discipline. What good is that if nobody finds out about it? We need to get you out there. We have a lot of resources to get you to conferences nationally, internationally. We have a lot of resources to help you publish your work. So we're big on that component. And I have a picture on the slide of Jessica Reyes, a KSU student who was accepted to present at Posters on the Hill. So I'm going to just digress really briefly to brag on Jessica. Posters on the Hill is this event where 60 undergraduates from around the United States are accepted to present their research to members of Congress in Washington, D.C. And so she was one of the 60 her year. We've actually had a KSU student accepted the last 3 years in a row, so I am very excited about our little streak here. I might have just jinxed us, I don't know. But this is Jessica presenting to Congress in DC, and it's an all expenses paid trip. So that could be you, right? We have the support to get you to DC if you're interested. I have to brag on I have hundreds of students, and I wanted you to get a flavor of the kind of research that's happening at KSU. So I picked 4, and it breaks my heart. This was the hardest part of making this presentation, is picking the 4 students that I wanted to brag on. I'm starting with Alex Resnick from Mechanical Engineering, who uses a 3D printer to create carbon nanostructures. I don't know what that means, but it sounds really good. But I have seen Alex present, and he is amazing. He has presented at just tons of conferences. He's won awards for his presentations, and he got a job offer before he even graduated from a nuclear consulting company, so that's amazing. Biology, Trey Dunn. You don't know what this means. He's a Goldwater scholar. Just Google that right now. This is one of the most amazing things that an undergraduate can do. It's incredibly prestigious. It's one of these prestigious scholarships, and he got it this year, actually, in 2020, for his research on nervous system development in worms.
Drop it in the link. That's
right.
Like, somebody Google it and drop it in the link.
It's really cool. I've heard him talk about it too. He's won awards. He's got lots of presentations. He did a summer fellowship under a Nobel laureate. Like, this is really awesome stuff. And in theater and performance, Dylan Carter has won awards for his research. He's been out there like dozens of times. I've seen him present a million times. He's a member of the KSU Tellers, which is a storytelling troupe at KSU. So we have lots of research coming out of College of the Arts, which I think is really exciting and makes us a little bit different, I think, from a lot of other universities in that research is really well integrated into that college. And then Kaylin Ireland, I had to put one of my own students in there. The other ones are not mine, but I'm a psych professor. I worked with Kaylin extensively. Kaylin sent me her Vita today. A Vita is like a resume that's kind of extensive, kind of details a lot of your work. And it was 15 pages long. I know faculty members who don't have 15-page Vitas right now. So she's done a ton of work in a lot of different areas. Actually, we were talking on the phone today, and she had 5 research projects that she worked on last year. I didn't have 5 research projects that I worked on last year. So just really accomplished, won lots of awards. So there you go. This is just a small kind of flavor of the kind of research that you might get involved in while you're at KSU. And if you're wondering why you should get involved, here's a short list of some of the reasons. There's actually a lot of research on undergraduate research, which is very meta, but things like when you get involved in research, you become a better public speaker from all of your experiences presenting your research. You become a better writer. You become a better critical thinker. You become a better problem solver. There's just a ton of positive outcomes here. And I want to highlight a couple that are on this slide, which is that you are going to increase your odds of getting a good job after graduation, or getting into graduate school, or getting into med school, or getting into law school. Whatever your future holds for you, you are going to increase your odds of achieving your goals by getting involved in research. This is a high impact practice that is, whatever your major, is going to be beneficial to you. Oh, and that was a picture. Sorry, I got to go back. Robbie, I love Robbie. He's a chemistry major who's been involved in research since his freshman year. I'm going to talk about that too. I want you to get involved right away. So, at KSU, we are nationally known as a hub of undergraduate research. And this culminated in 2019 when we hosted the largest undergraduate research conference in the world, NCUR, National Conference on Undergraduate Research. And NCUR's been around for a long time, and when we hosted it, it was the biggest it had ever been. We had nearly 5,000 people from all around the world, undergraduate researchers, coming and presenting on our campus. And this is a picture of one of the poster sessions. You can see how mobbed it is. We are just kind of on the map, I guess, in terms of undergraduate research. I also want to highlight that we are a finalist for the biggest award that the Council on Undergraduate Research gives out, and we are not sure if we've won yet, so you've got to stay tuned.
So once again, fingers crossed.
I know, right?
We got this.
We find out in a couple of months, but even being a finalist is really exciting. So we have a lot of funding for you. So we are really committed to getting you involved in research right when you get here. This is what's called the First Year Scholars Program, and I've got a picture of David from last year doing some research in the Hudson lab, Martin Hudson's lab. And we give you $2,000 over the course of the year to do research under the mentorship of a faculty member. We have 70 projects going right now with first-year scholars on them. And the research shows that the earlier you get involved in research, the better the outcomes for you. So that's why we want to kind of incentivize you to get involved right away. We have other funding for other students, not just first-year students, to do research, $1,000 per student. If you get accepted to NCUR, we pay all the expenses associated with that. And we have funding for your mentors too. So lots of funding, lots of money to go around. And that's also unusual, I think, and that's why I think that KSU is really on the map, is because we put our money where our mouth is. Lots of resources, and I won't belabor the point. You can go to our website and see videos about doing research. You can see all of our resources, but I do want to highlight the Undergraduate Research Club. I'm one of the advisors for this group, and this is a way to get involved right when you get to KSU. It's a free club. It's a registered student organization on campus, and they do research in teams. There's like 14 teams going on right now. I'm mentoring 2 of the teams. And they usually present at the National Conference on Undergraduate Research and at other conferences as well. Here's a photo of 2018. We all went to Oklahoma and presented at NCUR when it was held there in 2018. So lots of opportunities to get involved right away. First Year Scholars Program plus this club. We also have world-class facilities. So on the top left, this is an archaeology student playing with some bones. Not playing. I assume that she's doing actual impressive work, but I don't know what it is. On the top right, that's the science lab over in biology. The bottom right, that's our world-class Bailey Performing Arts Center. If you've never been to it, it's gorgeous. And on the bottom left, they're doing some mechanical engineering. So we have a lot of physical space and a lot of physical resources for your research. So when you get here, not if, but when you get here, folks, here's what you're going to do. You're going to do one of these 4 things. We have courses that are designated as undergraduate research courses, and we'll talk, Anna and I are going to talk more about that at the end. It's the It's About Engagement initiative. So you can take a course that has an undergraduate research component. Or you can approach faculty and just say, hey, I'm new here and I'd like to get involved. And that's how a lot of students get started in existing labs and in existing research, is just approaching faculty and getting involved. Number 3, join an interdisciplinary research team in the Undergraduate Research Club. Like I said, we got 14 teams right now, and we take every student who's interested. No student is turned away for any reason. If you want to get involved, join the club. And of course, you are all going to apply for the First Year Scholars Program. That's the best way to get involved because we pay you. The other ones, you don't get paid. So you should do all 4, right? Like, yeah, right. You know, hit the ground running. Why not? There's nothing stopping you. And then I'm just going to kind of close out with some of the resources that we have for undergraduate research. So I've already mentioned some of them. We have the student funding, we have the NCUR, we have the First Year Scholars Program, faculty funding the club. We have a website that helps you find a mentor. So you get here and you're not sure where to start, go to this website. It's where faculty advertise when they want you to join their team. The Symposium of Student Scholars, you know what? You all could go to it. It's being held on December 3rd. If you Google Symposium of Student Scholars, Kennesaw State, you can find the website. It's free and open to the public, and this year it's going to be virtual. Normally we have it in the Convocation Center on the Kennesaw campus, but we're going to have it virtually. So you could just pop in on student sessions. The Symposium of Student Scholars is an event to showcase student research that's happened in the last year. So there's going to be one in December and one in April. And all majors are represented. There's typically hundreds of presentations. You don't have to RSVP. You can just pop in to the sessions that you're interested in. I already mentioned Posters on the Hill. We also have an event called Posters at the Georgia Capitol, where undergraduate researchers present to Georgia legislators. And that's going to be held in February. It's held in February every year. So that's also going to be a virtual event. I think it's open to the public. And so keep an eye on the website for more details. We always have a good contingent from KSU doing this. Workshops, consultations, class presentations. Oh, and KSU pays, this is how committed we are to undergraduate research. KSU pays gobs of money, I won't say how much, it's in the thousands, to be an enhanced institutional member of the Council on Undergraduate Research. Again, that's that preeminent society. So when you are a student at KSU, you can join KUR for free and get access to all of their resources. They have funding for undergraduate researchers. They have a graduate registry that you can join so that graduate schools will recruit you, right? And so that's how committed I think KSU is to undergraduate research, that we make this available to you for free. And then finally, let me highlight our journal. Our signature journal is the Kennesaw Journal of Undergraduate Research, or KSU. And this is an online journal. I started it 9 years ago, and I didn't know what would happen. I just thought, you know, maybe a few students would submit articles, and who's going to read this? That was my thought at the time. But I was like, oh, I'll just try it and see what happens. Because it's an online journal, I can track like the number of times articles have been downloaded. And we are in the several hundred thousands of downloads from virtually every country in the United States. The most in the United States, sorry, it's Friday, in the world. The most downloaded article in KSU, which is about cell phone use in classrooms. It like kind of made a splash on Twitter, and it has been downloaded 30,000 times from 161 countries. Like, I don't even get it. How are they finding our tiny little KSU, what I thought was a tiny little KSU journal, but they're finding it in 161 countries 30,000 times. So that's a huge reach, right? Like, that could be you. You work on research, you publish it in KSU, and thousands of people learn about the research that you've done. So I think that's amazing. And KSU, by the way, is a multidisciplinary journal, which means that we take anything. So, you know, if you're an English major, your psychology, your biology, we take everything, and it gets reviewed, and it's really hard to get into as well. We have very high standards. So, that is all I have. I hope that you're putting a lot of questions in the chat and looking some of this stuff up, and I hope to see you on our campus soon.
Thank you so much, Dr. Amy. One of the things I love is just your excitement about
I love it.
Students and what they get to do. And I think the one great thing about KSU is our focus is undergraduate students and undergraduate research specifically, because I think a lot of times students hear research and they assume I have to be in a graduate or doctoral program to be able to have these opportunities. But here at KSU, we really want our students to pursue undergraduate research no matter what major, like you said earlier, no matter what major you are. And I guess my question before we get to career planning and development is, you said start early, but for our students out there, what is early? Is that freshman year? Is that sophomore year when they should really start thinking about undergraduate research when they know they're in their major? What does that look like for them?
It's a great question. I am of the mind that you start when you get on campus, maybe even before. Send me an email before you get here, like, I want to get involved, what should I do? And we'll walk through it. The first year scholars program is designed for freshmen. So as soon as you get here, you know, I think we usually have a deadline of like late September to join. And so as soon as you get here, start looking for it and get involved. But, you know, it's never too late. I think that, you know, if you're past your freshman year and, you know, you haven't gotten involved, or maybe you don't want to right away because you're still figuring yourself out. And I totally get that. And you might be overwhelmed with like other stuff that you're trying to do. But as soon as you're ready, go ahead and get started, because the sooner you get started, the sooner you get that 15-page veto like I talked about with Kaylin. You're not going to have time to do all those different projects if you start senior year, your last semester. Like you'll get a great experience, but it'll be really short, and you'll only have maybe one presentation as opposed to the dozen that a person like Kaylin Ireland gets. And so the earlier the better as far as I'm concerned.
That's good advice. So our freshmen that have just got accepted, you know, you're applying for that priority deadline and you're starting to think about your major. Also be thinking about not only my next steps as housing and orientation, all the things that we just learned about earlier, but then maybe thinking about like my major and then research opportunities, and kind of start diving into that and going onto your website and looking at what other students are doing here at KSU, so that way you can prepare yourself when you first set foot on our campus screen or wherever you are when you first get here to KSU for.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing too is that even if you haven't got yourself figured out, that's okay. A lot of the first year scholars are working on projects that just seemed interesting to them, and they're not necessarily in their major. And so you get this like kind of cross-disciplinary stuff happening, which I think is really cool. And a lot of students are undecided and they just pick that project because the title sounded really cool. You know, like, go ahead. This is a time to explore. You don't have to pigeonhole yourself. You can actually kind of go outside the box. Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
That's
Anna,
a perfect segue.
we're ready for you.
Well, I hope so. Man, that's a perfect segue because some of what I'll talk about here at the beginning is why we're called Career Planning and Development and not Career Services. So again, I'm Anna, delighted to be with you all tonight. And I run the Department of Career Planning and Development. And let's go into what that is and what that means. Some of the general kind of philosophies that guide our work. We actually changed our name not very long ago from Career Services to Career Planning and Development to reflect that it's a process that starts much like what Dr. Buddy just talked about early. Not to overwhelm you, we know you're still making some other really important choices, but presumably you're coming to college with the idea that there's something at the end of it, and we want you to start exploring that early, much like Dr. Buddy just mentioned. We see career development as a lifelong process that starts right when you get here. We want to help you to make sure that you're making good choices about your major. We want you to know what those choices are that you're making when you're choosing a major. And so we encourage you to visit us early and often. We're also highly academically integrated, which I think is important and is a differentiator from some other schools that you may be looking at. Being academically integrated means that our advisors are actually physically housed in the colleges that they're serving, which means they're very close to the faculty. They understand very much how the discipline works. They also are meeting with employers that are recruiting in those spaces. And so they really understand that when you come and say, I want to go into this field, what that means. And they have the support and the connections to back that up. We're also highly customized. It's a big school. Not every school has a 17 or so person career center. And the reason we have that is the university is committed to providing customized service. Even though this place is very large, it can feel very small because you have people who really understand you and who are taking the time to listen to your unique set of circumstances, your unique set of parameters. So I think knowing that, I think, can also help you as you're making some choices. I think the other thing, just to start this off, is that anything is possible with preparation. So we like to take that approach that you can choose a major that may not seem an obvious way to get to a particular path, but with the right planning can get you there. By way of example, I was a music major, and I still use my music. I still sing professionally on the side, but I also wanted to have a job like this one. And so I planned really carefully and crafted all of my experiences to get me to this amalgamation of a life. And so I think anything is possible with planning and preparation. And so some of the underpinnings of how we think about our work are in the 3 bullets: explore, prepare, and connect. We want you to explore, make informed decisions, prepare both in terms of tangibles, like getting you ready to interview or getting ready to present yourself in a particular way, but also trying it out. So I think a lot of the reason we're together, I suspect, is the try it out factor. We want you to be prepared and making an informed choice. So doing a research experience or doing an internship is a way to decide whether you like something or you don't like something, which can be just as instructive. And then connect. So our other function is to get you connected with employers, get you connected to graduate school, helping you figure out how to get face-to-face time with the people you want to be talking to as you're preparing to leave or as you're preparing to get an internship. So let's dive in a little bit. Not very good with clicker. So explore. So I think it's important to notice or to note that career management is a lifetime process. You've already been thinking about it. You know, you had career day probably in elementary school. It'll go on forever. And you don't have to make one decision at any one time. Nothing is pigeonholing you. It's about thinking about your strengths, your weaknesses, your interests, and also your values. Much like choosing a university, there's all these factors and you have to put them together. So I would say career management is a lifetime process, and each academic college has a career and internship advisor that's prepared to assist you. And so I think, I'll just answer Jacinta's question before I get it. I think you should meet with them your first semester when you're here.
I'm glad you read my mind.
Yeah, I knew it was coming.
Here,
I know.
Connected.
Yeah.
I love it.
Exploration, super important. I just want to talk a little bit about it because you can start doing it now. Some of these tools are just on our website, so you could start using the resources of KSU now if you wanted to. It's at careers.kennesaw.edu. We have two assessment inventories, and they're a little different. U-Science is one that's an aptitude test, and I think it's important to make the distinction. O-Net is more of an interest inventory. I think we all know what we're interested in, but I think it's instructive to some degree to take an aptitude test every so often, because I think sometimes we're good at things that surprise us or that maybe we didn't consider because we hadn't. You know, a lot of times what we know about what our career options are because of the people who are closest to us. We grew up with teachers, or we had a doctor as a parent, or whatever. And I think taking an aptitude test can reframe that a little bit and expose you to options that perhaps you hadn't considered before. But we have both of those instruments, both valuable for different reasons. We also have a tool on our website, and you can access it now, called What Can I Do with My Major? A lot of times people pigeonhole themselves. They think, well, I'm an accounting major, so I must be an accountant. And that's not really true. If you go through on that website, you're able to see very traditional ways to use a major and maybe some non-traditional ways. So none of us are monoliths. You know, a biology major may also be an artist. And so you would see on the biology, what can I do with my major page? At the bottom, sort of the tangential choices, like medical textbook illustrator, I think is one. And I think it's cool to think about the ways you can combine interests, or that a degree doesn't have to pigeonhole you. And I think that gives some freedom to when you're choosing your major, to know that you're not having to do just one thing when you leave. Career exploration workshops and events are another avenue through which you can figure out what it is you want to do or where it is you want to start. We host those every semester, and we host them either through our advising team, who can meet with you usually in small groups to be really discussion-based. But also sometimes we have employers come on campus to talk about industries. So an example of that would be like careers in healthcare. Well, immediately you think of nurses, you think of doctors, things like that. But there are also people who work there that are working to build websites or to do the marketing for that place. And so we try to bring a real hodgepodge of people working in a particular industry so that pretty much every major could see themselves in that industry. So we do it kind of from both directions. We also host each semester what is called the OWL Job Shadow Program, and I think that's pretty cool. Right now it's virtual, but most of the time it's face-to-face, and that is, we take a week each semester, and we have companies sign up. Companies all want KSU students. I'll get to that in a minute. But they sign up for days during the course of a week, and then you sign up for which companies you want to visit. And you can go to 5 different ones. You could go to just one. But it's a great way to sort of see what a culture is like at a particular place, which is just as important as deciding the kind of work you want to do. You want to know that you're going to be happy each day, because career decisions are impactful ones, and you spend a lot of time doing that. So exploration is pretty important, and we spend a lot of time on it. The next phase is preparation. So I think preparation is pretty important. Career opportunities hit you sometimes when you're not really expecting it. So you want to have given things some thought. Some of the things our office does, and I won't spend a huge amount of time on it, resumes and cover letters. It's important that you're putting your best foot forward anytime that you're applying for anything, including when you get to campus here and you want a student assistant type position. And so we spend a lot of time working one-on-one with students on resumes and cover letters, making them targeted, making you applicable to those positions. Interviewing skills. Interviewing makes people nervous pretty unanimously. And so the more time that you spend practicing those skills, the better. And we have 2 ways to do that. The first is video interviews with your career advisor. And they're actually video recorded so that you're able to go through the process of interviewing with your advisor, and then you stop about halfway through the appointment and you start watching it back with them, which can be really instructive. It's just a great way to understand what message you're communicating out into the world. The second is called Interview Stream, which is a web-based system. And that has you pick your major, so it'll have industry-specific questions, but those questions will be asked of you by an avatar. So a lot of times, students like to start with that and then do the mock interview with their advisor, so they feel like they're ready for the critique face-to-face interview experience. But really, really helpful. And we do those for any type of position, on campus, internship, full-time job, or even graduate school, if you're thinking ahead. Elevator pitch, of course, and then keeping your web presence up to date. That's probably more important now than ever. As you're navigating time through college and you're looking for jobs, people are going to look at your LinkedIn, even your Facebook. So you want to make sure that whatever brand it is you're communicating out to the world is intentional and that you want people to know those things about you. And so the advising team will happily sit with you and talk through, like, what is this particular thing communicating, or is that really how you want to be viewed in this particular industry? And so those are some of the ways we help to prepare. One of the big ways we help you prepare is through experiential education. And so we help students to find internships, get credit for them in some cases. They're for academic credit in a good, healthy number of majors. But I think internships and co-ops are probably the most meaningful way to prepare and to be informed. I guess a brief anecdote. When I was an undergrad, I was a music major, but I knew I wanted to have this other path. And so I did an internship as a, I don't even know what I would call it, but I was working at a juvenile justice system in Texas. And there were components of it that I loved, but it helped me know that that's absolutely not what I wanted to do. And that was really, really helpful because then I eliminated an entire career path that I thought was viable before I got too far down in any coursework to where I would have felt committed to that as a path. And so I think internships and co-ops are about the best thing that you can do to find both what you love and what maybe is not the right fit. It can also be a chance for you to figure out what context you want to work in when you leave. We talk a lot about it in our department, but there's a big difference in working in a small company and a big company. And trying that out can be really helpful. If you work in a big company, very often you have to be a specialist, right? Everyone's doing their little piece of the puzzle. And that may be something you really want because you know exactly where you're headed and you want to try that thing out and keep moving. Working at a smaller company, by contrast, you're kind of a Jack or Jill of all trades, and you're really being a generalist. And so that could be another thing. If you're looking to explore, doing something at a smaller company may help you to see what all your choices are. And so our team really works hard to get you preparation through internships and co-ops. Let's keep moving on. So a lot of times we get questions about whether internships or co-ops are a lucrative thing to do, and they really are. On that slide that you're seeing right now, the average pay for internships is about $11 an hour, and for co-ops it's about $16 an hour, which is pretty great. A lot of times people are choosing to work while they're in school, but why not be doing something that's industry specific and getting you experience? Very often internships and co-ops both lead to job offers when you're preparing to leave. And so I think to be thinking about doing internships and co-ops right from the time you get here can be a really great way to ensure that as you're leaving, you're gonna have a job in hand, which makes most people pretty happy. In terms of further preparation, but relative to connection, I just wanted to go over some of the events that we offer. I think we offer more events than most other places in the state, so I just want to run through those. Each semester we do, I think it's like 4 to 6 job and internship fairs, and some are for all majors, some are for STEM majors, some are for very niche groups like education or accounting, and we also host virtual fairs. More so now, but we've always hosted those, at least for the last 4 to 5 years. Sometimes for population-specific things, sometimes because of the nature of a particular field. And so we host robust fair events, and usually those bring onto campus about 100 to 200 employers, depending on which event, per day. So we try to get as many employers in front of you as possible so you can explore your options. Next, we have a senior cookout and scavenger hunt each year. That's something you have to look forward to at a distance, but it's a pretty cool way to get our seniors in front of employers while also providing free food. Each year we host the OWL Professional Development Conference, which is for students of all years, and it's a good way to start exploring early on. I would recommend attending even from your first year. Job fair prep days, also career exploration nights, and I talked a little bit about that before, but I think those are something you should tune into as soon as you're able. We have a slate of workshops each semester, and we also do a lot of collaborative or college-specific programs. So because we're academically integrated, when you choose your major, you're going to have career programming specific for you, and so just be on the alert for those opportunities. We also do a good bit of work with student organizations. So as you choose KSU and you come on campus and you get involved with student organizations, we have a number of opportunities where we go directly to those groups. So you're hearing from us no matter where you are. So be paying attention. I want to talk a little bit about a career management software that we have called Handshake. That's kind of the hub for everything we do. So once you're a student here, you'll hear about it all the time. Handshake is a place where all jobs are posted. Currently, even in Corona times, we have about 11,000 jobs available for KSU students. As I mentioned before, pretty much every company is working with us to recruit you for some type of position. And one thing that I would like to say, when you arrive, if you find that there's someone not in Handshake that you would want us to have recruiting you here on campus, you can easily let us know that, and we'll do outreach. We have positions specifically on our employer relations team to outreach to employers to make sure that they're recruiting you. So don't feel badly asking for that, because that's something we do specifically to make sure that the opportunities we have represent all of the possible major choices. So just be aware of that. Let's see. I'm not very good at reading from a distance. The final thing, I guess, that I'll talk a little bit about is that we find ourselves to be a connection point. We want to be the bridge between you and where you want to go. Each semester, we ask for feedback of you to see if we're providing the things that you want, and we're nimble. We change our workshop schedules, we get different employers on campus, but we also ask our employers what they're seeking and how their needs are changing so that we can change our feedback to you and make sure that what we're offering to you is the most current information possible. So we want to be a bridge, and we can best be that bridge if you're in constant communication with our office, because we're here to help. At this point, Dr. Buddy and I are do you want to ask a question?
Only thing that I could think of is every time you would say be a bridge or so I would just think of a song, and I'm like,
love
Jacinta, don't sing. I know that Anna
I have no
was
judgment.
a music major,
Hey.
but maybe
Nope.
we won't sing.
Maybe we'll sing at the end.
We'll sing at the end.
We'll sing at the end.
And
I'm
all
not
of that.
singing.
You're not going to sing. Yeah,
It's
that's
okay.
just fine.
We'll serenade you in the middle there. It'll be great. I was going to ask and just mention that I will say that our career planning and development department, you guys are really great. I know I've used you all in, when I was a student here at KSU, when I was looking at internships for the business program, and obviously it was a completely different, department then, because that was back in 2011. So it just looked very different. But I will say that when it comes to helping students with their resume, the detail that you all go into looking at a student's resume and saying, okay, maybe you should do this, and this, helping students when it comes to finding the co-op and internship opportunities that they need, major specifically, is wonderful, and just kind of how, once again, how engaged you are with our students. And I think that's you know, if we can take nothing away from just today, is that both departments are so wonderful in helping students get to those next steps that they want to be in. Yeah.
Thanks, Jacinta. I agree. So we're going to segue for the remainder of our time into just talking briefly about kind of a third high impact practice. Oh, I moved too fast.
It's okay.
So it's about engagement. Is every university, or most universities, have to participate in something called a quality enhancement plan. And that's an ongoing commitment to making the university better. And very recently, our university decided to commit to engagement opportunities as our next quality enhancement plan. And so there are 3 pillars to that. Internships and co-ops is one of them, undergraduate research, and also service learning. And so we wanted to just talk to you briefly about that and make sure that that got a hit too. Do you want to take over?
So we've talked a lot about our 2 pillars, undergraduate research and internships and co-ops. But there's also service learning, which is another high impact practice. We call them the HIPs. Hips don't lie.
Hips don't lie. That'll be the song.
Yeah,
that's what we'll
do that.
And so there's actually a lot of high impact practices that you can engage in that really have been shown through research to be transformative for students. And service learning is another one. And this is where, you know, you're taking what you learn in the classroom and then you're applying it in a service way. And it isn't just volunteerism. It goes beyond that. It's really making the connections between doing this kind of service in the community and also what you are learning in your coursework. And so we just wanted to briefly highlight that this was an option for you as well. And this website, it's engagement.kennesaw.edu, and you can learn a little bit more about all 3 of the pillars if you're interested in getting involved. But like I mentioned earlier, you know, because we are committed to these 3 in particular, all high impact practices, but we've really made a decision to focus on these 3, that there are courses that are designated with these, you know, undergraduate research, internship, and service learning designations. And so you can take a course or you can get involved in other ways, but we really have a commitment to helping you get these 3 experiences if you want them. Anything else?
Well, that is so great. Thank you guys so much. We're going to open it up to just a few questions from our YouTube and our chat. So if we can we got one question, so we'll let Adam go ahead and ask that first one.
Yes, so I did have a question about research and how it's planned to be expanded upon on the Kennesaw campus, and how if that's something that's going to continue to grow and become more of a opportunity for more students going forward.
Such a great question. So I started as the director of undergraduate research about, well, I don't know. It was kind of half-time for a while, so I think it was around 2008 or so. And I had a budget of $40,000 total for all the initiatives that we had going on, which back then was virtually nothing. And so since then, and we stayed at $40,000 for several years. And then somehow the university decided that, you know what, that is not enough because we have grown so much. And so my budget goes up every single year. And I honestly don't even know what it is right now, which is kind of embarrassing because it got so big. But the first year...
That's where we are.
I feel bad, like I'm bragging. There are people watching this going, can you give some of that to me? Like, I'm broke over here. So the first year scholars program has 70 projects, and each project has a student who gets $2,000 and a faculty member who gets $2,000. So do that math. Then we have those $1,000 grants, and last year I think it was 50 of those that we could give out, and this year it's 70. Last year the first year scholars program was 10 students. This year it's 70. So yes, to answer your question, we grow. We grow exponentially. We grow out of control. We grow like a weed. I can't keep up. And so, so we've actually had to add staff to help out with the workload. I promise you that by the time you get here, we'll have some new initiative where it's like, okay, Amy, here's $300,000, spend it on this initiative. I'll be like, okay, we'll find the time to do it. So yes, we're growing exponentially.
right, guys. So we have a few questions for our first year students. So can a freshman get a campus job or an internship or participate in undergraduate research as soon as they come into Kennesaw State?
Yes. So
Yes.
I'll start. I'll start. On-campus job, absolutely. And I forgot to mention this, so thank you for asking this question. We have an on-campus job fair every fall semester as a part of Welcome Week. So absolutely, from the very first week that you get on campus, there will be jobs available to you on campus, both student assistant and federal work study if you qualify for that. In terms of an internship, unofficially you can participate in an internship as soon as possible. If you want to do that for academic credit, depending on your degree program, you may have to start that later. There are some particulars about how many credit hours you have to have accrued before you participate. But you can absolutely start gaining experience anytime that you want to. Absolutely.
And for undergraduate research, the very first thing you're going to do when you get on this campus, besides like finding your way around, is go to the undergraduate research website and find the application for the first year scholars program so that you can check out all the projects and decide on which ones you want to apply to. And by the way, you can apply to as many as you want. There's no limit. You might get to choose. We had that happen this year where students were the winner for 4 or 5 projects and they got to pick the one they wanted. So first year scholars program, you're also going to join the undergraduate research club, and so you do that through Owl Life, and so you'll immediately be a member, and then you'll find out more information about all the research projects that are going on through the club. Number 3, you might want to just approach a faculty member. You can do some research online and see what faculty members are doing. If you're interested in worms, we got a worm guy. And so you're going to go approach the worm guy and say, hey, I heard about your worms, and I want to do some research with you. And so you'll join the worm lab that way. Number 4, we have classes that are about undergraduate research through the It's About Engagement initiative, and so if you can find those classes, you can do research as part of that class when you first come to KSU. So yes, we got 4 options for you for getting involved the second you get on campus. All right.
One more. So can the Career Planning and Development Department help additionally with graduate school for students interested in advancing their academic career as well?
Absolutely. We are most happy to help students no matter what their intended goal is when they're leaving. Very often we are made aware of pre-professional advising. Just the answer is absolutely. Happy to work on curriculum vitas, the longer version resume that Dr. Betty was mentioning earlier. Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, so here's a fun little question. So what are some of the places that our students can go out to as far as internships, co-ops, if they went out of state, out of the country, if you guys can expound on that?
Yeah, there's probably not a company in the Metro Atlanta area that we haven't had a student at. I mean, all of the Fortune 50, Fortune 100, all of those companies we have recurring relationships with, but also smaller companies. We also have, it's increasing, especially now, there are some virtual internships. We have students go out of state and out of the country for internships regularly, but even more so now that we're living in a virtual world. So some internships with Silicon Valley are happening this semester for some of our computer science students. But yeah, you name it, we have relationships. I mean, all the big companies, Delta Coke, GBI, Carter Center, just pretty much anywhere. And I'd be happy to, if there's a particular company that the person who asked this question is interested in, you can shoot me an email after this and I'll let you know if we've worked with that organization before.
I have a question. Like you said, we're working in very virtual lifestyle right now. How, with our virtual fairs for our students, how do they navigate those? Because it's very different than being able to walk up to an employer and say, hi, my name is Jacinta, here's my resume. What does that look like for a student virtually?
Yeah, it's definitely different, and so we're preparing you differently, first of all. So we have workshops specifically for navigating a virtual fair so that you'll know how to present yourself differently, how to make sure you have an appropriate background, all those different kinds of things that you wouldn't have to think about. But also, I think there's been some real value. This isn't the question you asked, but it's where I'm going to take it. But there's also some real value to this virtual world, because I think some of the nervousness is a little less in this context. And also, in a fair environment, it's loud and there's lots of sounds and you have to block them out. And so you only usually get 2 minutes and you're distracted. In this kind of a setting, what makes it a little different, you sign up ahead of time with the different employers and you get a 10-minute slot. So you're almost getting kind of a first round interview out of the way instead of more of a meet and greet where you feel like you're not able to sell yourself. And I think that's really good. The other way virtual fairs have changed, some employers select to host group times. So those are 30 minutes and there's a set number. It depends on what the employer requests. But they'll get a set of 10 students, let's say, and those 10 students have 30 minutes with that employer. So it can be more exploratory in nature and maybe a little less stressful. So we're doing a lot of preparation to help students feel confident, but I think it can be an even better option.
And when do
for
we
new
normally
students.
host our fairs, or when do we have any coming up soon for students?
Yes, we have the graduate school fair, which we do in partnership on Monday. We've just finished our fair season. Last week was our 2-day all majors fair, where we had different companies each day recruiting all majors. And then 2 weeks before that was our STEM 2-day fair, where we had a bunch of companies on 2 different days. But we're wrapped up a little bit for fall. In the spring, you can expect them in February, March, April.
Well, as we kind of narrow things down, we always ask, what type of advice would you give a student? And I know that it's not just necessarily for undergraduate research, but just in general for students who are, they've selected KSU, they're ready to come. What do you say to them when they get here or before they get here?
Well, from a career perspective, I would just say, don't let the stress of having to make a big decision feel so heavy. I think there's no wrong decision, and no decision pigeonholes you in any kind of a way. So when you feel that pressure, just remember, you could do a million things with almost every degree, as long as you're taking advantage of talking to someone about how to do that. So just don't feel the gravity of that decision as much.
My advice is always to take advantage of everything that KSU has to offer. I just talked about all these different initiatives in the Office of Undergraduate Research, and we have a lot of other units on campus that have all kinds of stuff. And so it can be overwhelming that there's so many ways that you can go, so many options to take, and just try stuff out. If it doesn't work, then you move on to something else, kind of like your story about your internship, right? So this is a time of exploration, and it's going to be an amazing time for you. And it's a time for you to just try things out. And I think that you should take advantage of that. I think it should be in undergraduate research, mostly. I don't know why there would be anything else that you would want to do. But if there is, I don't know what the number is. It's in the hundreds of registered student organizations. So you can find people that are, kind of have similar interests to you. We have a lot of sports. We have all kinds of stuff going on. And so arts, very thriving art scene. So just get involved in the stuff that sounds really interesting to you. You don't have another opportunity like this after you graduate.
I agree. I definitely agree, because you get to a certain place and you're like, well, I can't explore all the things that I want to. And I think as a college student, doing it while you're in kind of this bubble of life is really important to explore as much as possible, as you guys said. So that's really wonderful. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Undergraduate Research. Thank you, Career Planning and Development, for coming and talking to us about all the great opportunities that you have. And I'm sure when our students get here, there'll probably be even more opportunities for them that you guys don't know about yet, and that they haven't experienced it yet. So we're really excited about that, and we're thankful. If you haven't already, make sure you enter the raffle. So once again, that you can win this wonderful present here. So we will let you guys know that later next week if you won. And up next, we're going to have our Division of Student Affairs. We've got some really great people to talk about that department here on campus. So make sure that you stay tuned and hang out with us. We always end every session with a big Hooty Hoo and show our allies. So guys, we're going to close out with the big Hooty Hoo. Hooty Hoo.
Hooty Hoo.
Welcome to KSU. Parent and Family Programs is excited to be the first step on your journey alongside your KSU OWL. Through our digital experience, you'll find wonderful opportunities, even now, to become informed and engaged while supporting your new OWL. Enjoy the different communities of interest, tailored updates and newsletters, calendar of events, as well as support through our caring and dedicated staff. Later, we'll provide you with additional amazing resources as well as unique involvement opportunities, both for you and your student. We strive to keep you involved, informed, and invested every step of the way. Get started today. Kennesaw.campusesp.com.
You don't go to Kennesaw State just for a degree. You go to find your element. You go to find your rhythm. You go to find your community. You go to find your wings. Find your wings at Kennesaw State University.
My name is Jacinta Lester. I'm a 2011 alumna of Kennesaw State University and the manager of admissions for special populations. In my role, I have the pleasure of managing our dual enrollment program. I'm here to help dual enrollment students through their high school and their college journey, and I want to make the process simple for you and your family. If you have questions along the way, I'm here for you. You can connect with me through Zoom, Teams, email, or you may simply give me a call. Check out my profile on our website to set up an appointment. You can also join me for monthly Zoom dual information sessions. KSU's innovative academic programs, wonderful job opportunities, great sports, and the best food in the Southeast is a place where students will feel at home. Navigating the ins and outs of the dual enrollment process can be daunting, but know I'm here to walk you through the process. I hope you land in the KSU nest as a future dual enrollment student and continue on with us after your high school graduation towards becoming a KSU graduate like me. Go Owls!
Awesome. Welcome for our last session of the week for our virtual open house. My name is Norma Nunez Pacheco, and I'm one of the admissions counselor for the Office of Undergraduate Admissions. Today, our last session will be with our Division of Student Affairs, and so I'll let our wonderful guests present themselves.
Well, hello, I am Dr. Ronald Briggs. I serve as the Associate Vice President and Dean of Students.
And I'm Dr. Kara Ray. I'm the Assistant Vice President for Student Affairs.
Awesome. So Tonight we have a wonderful guests who are going to be able to talk to you a lot about how to get involved, different things that you can do on campus and amazing opportunities for you and so much more. But just wanted to remind you that while you're on with us on Facebook and YouTube, please feel free to use your TV, use a computer, whatever makes it feel more homey for you. We want to make this a great experience, as well as don't forget to sign up for our raffle. As you all have seen this wonderful bag, it is fantastic, pretty heavy. They weren't lying. I've been waiting all week to carry it, and it's still heavy. So please make sure to sign up for that. This is your last chance, so please make sure not to forget. With that said, I will let our guests get started.
Yeah, well, I think the whole purpose, and we really want to make sure that we're sharing information with our families and our students about how to empower our students to be successful. So we want to talk about that. I know a lot of times when we talk about student affairs, folks don't really know what is student affairs. So what if we want to give some insight on that? What are some of the challenges that we sometimes see students have, and how our students can overcome those challenges? So we want to really talk a little bit more about that.
Did you have anything to add, Dr. Ray?
We can go ahead and start talking about what we value in student affairs. As a division, we really value things like integrity, inclusion, community, discovery, and civility. And so you'll hear us hit on those topics as we go through what exactly student affairs is and what we can do for and with students and families to help people be successful here at Kennesaw.
Yeah, so when we talk about students or student affairs, it's literally that. It is all about the students. A lot of times when we think about college, we talk about the classroom experience, which is really important. Student affairs is the purpose of supporting our students both inside the classroom as well as outside the classroom. As we know, research actually shows that 70% of learning actually happens outside the classroom. So as student affairs practitioners, we want to make sure that we're providing that support and services for our students to learn an information or be able to apply that information that they learn in the classroom outside of the classroom. So we want to make sure that we're doing that. And we do recognize that, first year students, they have that aspiration. Every first year student pretty comes in with, similar experiences, making that transition from high school to college. So they're really learning how to grasp and navigate this new environment. But also at the same time, we want to make sure that they're getting connected to those resources that support their personal as well as their professional aspirations. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure, and as students, they want to make sure they're being responsible to their community.
That's a great point, Dr. Briggs, especially in our last session where we talked about and we asked about advice from our guests, and they talked about getting involved, exploring campus. It's really important. We have such great student organizations, and most of them are held within our division of student affairs. So yes, lots of ways to get involved. We want to make sure that we're creating this community for you and that you can get to meet others that also share those same passions.
Mm-hmm. So as students, when they're transitioning into college, there's information and research that has shown us that there are some common barriers to students' success. And it's not uncommon. I know a lot of times when students are coming into college, they feel like they're the only one, and it's really not. Some of the biggest challenges that we've seen thus far over the years, adjusting to academic responsibilities. High school is much different than college. I think for folks who've actually gone through the experience with family members, they can share with you the experience is much different, particularly as it relates to the level of freedom as well as the level of responsibilities. There's a lot more time that you have on your hands. So from an academic perspective, you have like 4 or 5 classes for the week. You have all that time, so making sure you're taking care of that, which at times it can be stressful that you have all of that freedom, and making sure we're being responsible about that, but also at times want to make sure that folks aren't being overcommitted. I remember a mentor told me a long time ago, for folks who are coming to college, there's a lot of things that people want to do. One thing that your main focus should not be is to come to college and fall in love. You can do that as part of the college experience, but that shouldn't be not your major goal, right? Because that's an expensive date. But you always want to make sure that you're focusing on your academics, but also focusing on what makes you happy and how you can become a better person.
So we also know that some things that students deal with as they come to college might be things like anxiety or even depression. And one of the resources we want to make sure we emphasize is that we have a terrific counseling center here. That's also within the Division of Student Affairs. So in addition to those outside of the classroom activities, student organizations, events, fun stuff like that, we also have a whole part of our division that's really dedicated to supporting students. And so Whether that's, you get to college and you're really dealing with some anxiety about those academic responsibilities and how to spend that free time, or whether it's a bit of a more serious issue, our counseling center is well equipped to deal with that. And we have offices on both campuses. So we want to make absolutely sure that everybody knows about that. We also find that our students are sometimes anxious and they're concerned for other people. And they're maybe even wondering how their families are doing at home without them if they've moved away to come to college. And this is just a really unusual time to be coming to college to begin with. In these days of COVID and wearing masks and social distancing and not having some of those big events, our students can be really worried about their families and friends who are elsewhere. And so we offer a lot of services to help students, first of all, deal with those feelings. And then also we want students to connect to each other and start to form those communities here. And that is so important. COVID or not, 2020, 2025, I'm going to be telling you the same things. We offer so many opportunities to get involved, meet other people, meet us. We like to meet students and talk to them as well. And so we definitely want to recognize what some of those barriers might be and work with students to help overcome them.
And thank you for talking about that, Dr. Ray. So it's really important. The counseling department is here for you. But I do have some students that I talk to when I'm recruiting out in the different territories, and they ask, these services, are they free? Is it something that you have to sign up for? What does that look like? What is really available to these students? Is it really accessible? What does that look like?
It is accessible. We want to make sure that the services and the resources are available for all of our students. All you got to do is just ask. The information is right there. And I think in the technology world that we're in right now, literally all you need to do is just type the information in, and someone will actually pop up and you're able to actually virtually or interact over internet. So I think that's a great opportunity. As far as cost, we're always working with students in regards to the cost. So we never want cost to be a barrier to the student's experience. So there's definitely those conversations that can definitely be had. Our counseling services actually has a plethora of different resources, whether it's individual counseling as well as group counseling and networking opportunities. So I definitely encourage, if students want to take advantage of those experiences, please do.
I definitely recommend it. It's great. It's something that's here for you. And we're all here invested in your success. So definitely happy to hear that we have these kinds of services on campus. Mm-hmm. Any other services or things that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about barriers, we also want to talk about what are those ways to overcome those barriers. And one of the best ways of overcoming those barriers is to get involved, to step outside the classroom. I think a lot of times, particularly with our first year students, their main goal is my first year, I want to focus on classes and that's it. And that's actually the wrong thing to do, is just focusing on your classes, because like we shared before, there's so many resources outside the classroom that support the in-classroom experience. So one of the different ways is actually getting involved in academics, getting involved in organizations, utilizing those resources. So when we talk about getting involved in student organizations and going to activities, one of the best ways is getting involved in like a student organization that's geared towards your major. Why? It's because the individuals that are typically in those majors are the same individuals that are in those classes and as well as in those organizations. But guess what? The advisors for those organizations tend to be like faculty members and staff members from the college. So as we think about resources and networking, as you think about internships and research opportunities, taking advantage and utilizing that, but also getting involved in some of our organizations, our student organizations, as well as our fraternities and sororities. They're really geared towards student success. But one of the areas that we always talk about in college is the academics, right? Which is so important. But we also forget about those other skills that are important for student success, those soft skills, right? So when individuals are going out and looking for jobs and looking for careers, a lot of times employers, they look at the resume, but they also look at the individual off the resume. So what's their communication style? What's their ability to work with others unlike themselves? What's their ability to critically think, to solve those problems that aren't necessarily always on paper? So I think those are the areas that we really talk about and student affairs really focus on in developing those skills for our students.
You talked about having student affairs advisors. I think they're fantastic individuals that really help students kind of progress to learn about those soft skills you talked about. What kind of does their role look like, since it's going to be out of the classroom? How do they help students develop, let's say, leadership, or even build up their resumes to get ready for these job opportunities?
That is so important. I'm glad you said that. One of the great ways of actually developing those skills, we talked about being a student organization. So as a person is a leader within a student organization, they learn how to manage their time, which is one. You're managing your time because not only are you a student in class, but you're also leading an organization. But also a part of that, in leading a student organization, you have to manage personalities, right? So you're learning how to navigate those different interactions and also those problem solving skills. But one of the other best ways of honing those skills is getting a job on campus, right? So you're learning about how to navigate the institution while also being a part of the institution, which is so critical. I always encourage students to actually, get a job on campus because for the first part, we recognize that you're a student first, right? So by you being a student first, we recognize the fact that classes are first, that midterms are coming up. So as those midterms are coming up and finals are coming up, we recognize, hey, I need you to take some time off so you can focus on your classes. And I think that's what's really important. But as part of that, you're developing those skills, right, that you can actually put on your resume. Career services, or particularly our career and planning development, that is not a department that you want to focus on just your senior year of college, right? It's one of those areas that you want to take advantage of your first year of college and not wait until your spring semester when you're graduating to say, hey, I need to tweak my resume. You always want to be tweaking it, and by doing that, it's through those experiences that you're having by being on campus, getting involved in organizations, working, volunteering, things of that nature.
Yeah, I would even say if you're undecided right now, still use the Career Planning and Development Office. They're fantastic. They'll still help you navigate kind of what career you want. What do you want your life after college to look like? And they can help you work backwards to see what major can help you with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
We also have a lot of great opportunities in the different peer mentor programs that our offices offer, and also in leadership programs such as our Engaged OWL Leader program, so that students who maybe aren't sure which student organization is right for them, or just want to do something a little bit different or focused in mentoring others or being mentored in your first year here, there's lots of opportunities to engage with that as well. And you'll also get to spend some time with us as student affairs administrators, and we love talking to students. Yes. About what you want to do, what you want to do with your life, what you want to do with your spare time. We love helping students work through that. And so getting students involved in those programs run by our offices is also a big goal of ours.
It's the reason why we're in this field.
Honestly, I think we have the best job. We get to hear about what you want to do with your life. We live vicariously through you. It's honestly a lot of fun because, we hear students that they're going to go abroad, they're going to get a job abroad or go to another state. It's so many great things that we get to hear from students' experiences. So it's really great. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So yes, I would always share with students, get rest. I know a lot of times in college, students focus on, getting involved in so many different activities and forgetting about sleeping. You gotta sleep, you gotta get your rest, and that's so important. So making sure that you're being healthy and responsible, so living healthy and being healthy, but also taking care of business and having fun, which is so important.
I'm glad you bring up fun. I do have a lot of students that ask me, what are your favorite activities, your favorite traditions on Kennesaw campus or Marietta campus? So what do you all think are your favorites, something you can share to the students?
Well, let me tell you one of my absolute favorite ones that's coming up really soon. It's going to look a little bit different this year. Usually we want big crowds there, and this year, of course, we want smaller crowds. But it is our pumpkin launch. And so for our first year students in the mechanical engineering kind of intro first year class, this is a great example of how academics and student affairs come together. Because what they do in class is they build catapults and trebuchets and that launch pumpkins. And then we all go out to the soccer fields and they actually test these. And it is amazing how far these pumpkins will go. And it turns into a big fun event. Their families come and other students come, and some of our student organizations will do activities alongside it. So there's stuff to do while they're loading the catapults and whatnot and switching them out between rounds. And that is just one of our most amazing traditions. That was the first thing folks told me about when I started looking at working here. And indeed, it was one of the best things that I've ever seen.
It's the Thursday before Halloween, correct? Yeah,
that is true.
I saw that and I was just like, might come to campus just for that.
I am looking forward to seeing some pumpkins getting launched.
Definitely.
That's really exciting.
How about yours? What's some of your favorite activities or fun activities?
I'm new to the institution, and when I heard about pumpkin launch, I was like, I need to check this out. So my undergrad was mechanical engineering, and we didn't get to build catapults. So I'm looking forward to being able to see people throw, pumpkins, 50, 60 feet in the air. That's
not even 50 or 60 feet.
That's
farther than that.
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, and it's so great. It's not just about the catapults. I hear that the students also get to learn about communications skills, the team building within their teams to kind of communicate. If something doesn't work like they imagined it would, what do they have to change and modify to make that pumpkin go further? I think you have 3 chances or something like that. So it's pretty awesome. So yeah, so what other things that you would like to discuss with us today?
Sure. I think the biggest part that I always want to make sure that I'm reiterating is utilizing your resources, taking advantage of the resources that are there for you, not just spending your time just in the residence hall or just going home, but utilizing the different activities and the resources that are here at the university, branching out and trying new things, but being responsible. And one of the things I would also share that I really would love to see more of is our students getting out to different activities as it relates to our sporting events, coming to our football games and basketball games and baseball games. The individuals that they're cheering on are your peers, they're students. So being supportive of our students and learn a lot more. So even if you don't know what a first down is, or you don't know what a free throw is, it's still getting out there to have fun. There's been plenty of times I've actually worked with students and encouraged them to come out to the games, and they're like, I'm not really into football or into basketball. And they've gone out to the events, and after that, I asked them, like, how was the game? They're like, I had so much fun. I'm like, what did you think of the game? Like, I don't even know who won, but I had so much fun. That's what's important, is the engagement aspect, but also cheering on your fellow students.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And I would say that, you know, you've probably heard a lot maybe from other folks in your families who have gone to college. If you're a parent or family member watching this right now, I'm sure you're thinking back to your own undergraduate experience. If you don't have those things, then you've at least probably seen images of college on TV and in the movies. And we know it's going to look different when you get here. You know, just because of everything that's going on right now, it might look a little bit different. You know, just the fact that you're not right in front of us right now is a little bit different. But, you know, no matter what you were thinking that college experience might be like, and if you're worried about it being different, it's still going to be your experience. And you can make it what you want it to be. We hope that you're going to do that here with us at Kennesaw. We offer so many different opportunities. We have about 1,000 programs a semester. We actually counted this year so that we could say, look at all the great things we're doing, even in these restricted times when we can't all be in an arena together at a concert. So we're doing a lot. You're going to do a lot when you're here. It's going to be a great experience.
So student organizations are still getting together, and what kind of activities are they doing? Mostly Zoom, or what have you all heard about how people are still getting engaged despite the social distancing?
Yeah, so students organizations are still able to get together. It's just not as large, right? So more of like your smaller, intimate type of crowds, but they're still putting on activities. We see a lot of activities that are out there on the green where folks are playing Frisbee or throwing a softball around. But also the other opportunities is actually have some of those interactive activities. I think in this particular time, in this era of being virtual, because we pretty much kind of have to, it provides us the ability to really reach out and go further, where student organizations are to connect with individuals across the country, and being able to actually bring in speakers that usually, from a cost perspective, you have to pay for them to fly in and stay and pay for their food, when literally all you need to do is just pay for them to speak on a screen. It's been a great opportunity for student organizations to kind of branch out and learn a lot more without having to pay as much.
Yeah, so I definitely hear that now we have way more opportunities to hear from, people that we might have not been able to hear from before. And so those students get to possibly even network if it's a smaller, more intimate setting. So that's really exciting.
And I think that our student groups are certainly learning to be flexible, and which is a good skill to have for the future. But our student activities folks are also doing great things to help our students work with their student organizations online. So they're trying to, figuring out how we can have some reservable team sites so that students aren't limited to, the free 40 minutes or whatever that you might be able to get with a free account, but, can access some university resources. That way, they're working with them to figure out how do we do events safely. We're still out there doing, we did craft events last week, and we were out there just doing silly little crafts with students, but the real point is that we're interacting and talking, and students can talk to each other, not too many of them at one time, but still that kind of connection is really important. And we're still working to facilitate that and also to help students facilitate that for each other.
Yeah, I'm really proud of our fraternities and sororities as well, because they've really stepped up and taken the lead, not only from an activity standpoint, but also making sure that they're focusing on the development of their peers. So I really have to give them kudos for that.
Awesome. Yeah, so there's a lot of going on campus despite everything that's happened. And we're really lucky to also have great administrators that are helping support our staff to be able to support you all. We also were talking about the different activities, and with that said is what else happens on campus that you all have really, liked so far? Maybe you said that you're near campus, so what has impressed you so much about Kennesaw State so far?
Honestly, it's the students. The students who are so welcoming, their ability to really show you what it means to be an owl, to really, I would say for me to embrace welcoming me to the institution, showing me around. Actually, I got lost on campus a few weeks ago, and they were able to kind of navigate me back to campus, which was really awesome. So it's really been the student experience. It's been awesome for me.
So is there any questions from our Facebook or YouTube students? Awesome, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so in a non-COVID world, what were some of the bigger events that the Division of Student Affairs hosted for our students to get involved with?
So certainly, events like homecoming. Right now, in a normal world, we'd be coming up on a big homecoming event. We'd have football games, we would have a concert, we would have carnival type things outside. So homecoming is a big signature event. The pumpkin launch that we already mentioned. In the spring, we have KSU Day, which is really a day designed to celebrate our values here at Kennesaw and also to have some fun in the spring before folks go home or off on other adventures in the summer. We have those are probably our biggest events. And then we also have a large number of things like a fall festival at the Marietta campus. We have our competition teams competing throughout the year, doing some exhibitions. Our weeks of welcome and welcome back week in fall and spring respectively usually have some large events. We like to get folks out and mingling together, and we're so excited about returning to that one day, hopefully soon.
Yeah, like our concerts that we have on campus, our sporting events, which are also great. A lot of the events that our student organizations are putting on, the glow parties, our fraternities, sororities doing some collaborative opportunities. It's been really awesome. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing that together.
Yeah, and if students don't see an organization that maybe they want to be part of yet, or they want to start something new, is that possible? How is that done?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very possible. You just need a few friends. I think it's 4 people, but I always have to look that up to be totally sure. So if you come in the fall and you are in the spring and you want to start a student organization, come see me and we'll look that up together. But you just need a few friends. You get together, there's usually someone in the student activities office on either campus who's dedicated to meeting with students who want to form a new organization. One of the first things you do is figure out how that organization is going to work, right? So you write your constitution and your bylaws, figure out how to market that student organization and gather people together to engage in whatever fun activity that your organization's organized around.
That's
and
awesome.
you get funding for it too.
Yeah.
So you don't have to come out of your own pocket. You get funding for it.
Yeah, so potentially free pizza. So honestly,
and so much more.
Free food, honestly, and so much more. But that's so great. You know, definitely a place that students love to get involved. And you honestly, even more than funding, you get friendships that last forever. Honestly, some of my best friends are my college friends. They came to my wedding. I mean, it's something that you really build friendships for life in college. And we're happy to think that potentially Kennesaw State will be your nest for the next 4 years. So we have another question as well.
Yes, so the question I have is, do you feel that there have been an expansion of virtual opportunities as well? I know that we have in-person events as well, but do you feel that we've added a lot more virtual opportunities too for those students that may not necessarily be able to get on campus all the time?
Yes, for sure. So it's one thing of actually having the on-ground, but we also have the online experiences too. A lot of our student organizations, being the fact that we can't have so many people together at once, they've actually made it virtual too, so other individuals across campus, but also while they're at home, are able to actually participate. So we're excited about the fact that our students have been very thinking outside the box and innovating how they can actually engage their peers.
And I think that that's probably something we're never going to go back, right? We're probably going to have more virtual and more in-person events going forward. So we'll have more opportunities for you.
Yes.
Definitely. And that can go as far as maybe even career options, right? Like I've heard of different employers that maybe were across the U.S. that will now be able to provide more internships that way. So lots of exciting stuff. We have another question from our audience.
All right, so here is, it can either be a long answer or a short answer, depending on how you take it. But what is the success rate for a student who gets involved as opposed to someone who doesn't get involved?
That's a great question, and research has shown us is that when students who are involved, not only do they feel connected to the institution, they feel like it's their home, they return to the institution and they graduate. If you are in an environment where you feel like you're a part of and it's yours, of course you're going to be successful because you want to take advantage of the resources that are there. But if you're in an environment where you don't feel like it's your home, where literally you come to campus and then you go home and you're not utilizing those resources are there, you don't feel connected. And when you're not connected, you don't really particularly persist. Now, there are times where students are definitely successful in the ability to do that, but you're a lot successful. The rate is actually a lot higher when you're involved.
And with over 41,000 students on campus, you are more likely to find someone who has those similar interests. And so utilizing the Division of Student Affairs to be able to find those individuals is what makes it so great. It connects you outside of the classroom because it's great. You'll get to see a lot of your friends within your classroom, but as you go into your major, you start wanting to meet other people from different and network from different majors. So student activities helps you do that as well.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome part about that is the fact that this isn't anecdotal. The data's there. And if you get a chance to actually talk with your peers, but also look at the data, because student affairs practitioners, you know, we worked on this, we got our doctorates and our degrees because we had to study this stuff. The research actually shows the students who are involved, not only did they return to the institution, but they graduate at a higher rate.
Well, let's be real. Were you all involved when you all were in undergraduate, your education undergraduate? Like, did you all get involved on campus? What things did you do? And maybe how did you even get into student affairs?
Yeah, so I was on what we call our program board, and meaning that my student organization planned events and put those on. And I was also an orientation leader. This was a long time ago. We won't talk about how long, but that was a great experience, and it really led me to decide I wanted to do this as my career. And then when I was in my doctoral program, we were all comparing notes earlier, my research is actually about how students connect to each other and how they use those in-person, even just informal connections, like, you know, this is Bob and he sits next to me in class and I know Bob, and if I get a flat tire, I can email him and he'll send me the notes. You know, those kinds of connections, which you're going to make at events and in organizations and in your classes, just they're demonstrably able to show that those kind of connections help you do better. And we're all about helping students make those connections.
Sure, sure. And my story is very similar, a little bit in both ways, where I was involved from the aspect of I worked on campus. I actually had 2 jobs on campus. As a mechanical engineering major, most of my time really focused on classes and work. And my senior year is when I decided that I want to get a different experience. So I actually quit one of my jobs. And I decided I wanted to get involved in a student organization. I think that's where the student affairs bug came, because the advisor for the student organization was the vice president for student affairs. And I got a chance to learn about higher education and get a chance to talk to students about my experience and learn that I wasn't alone. I had the similar experience like other individuals. And from there on, I just really loved what I was doing. And very similar to Dr. Ray, my dissertation focused on peer mentoring. So students to student peer mentoring. And what we found is that when a student is learning from another student, both individuals are learning, right? So it's one thing of actually learning from someone, but when you have to actually teach it or share that information, you have to know it too. So we found the benefits of that as well.
Yeah, peer mentoring is so important. We have that even within many different programs, but one that we mentioned earlier this week was our honors program. They do have peer mentoring as well, and they kind of help you kind of navigate that, get to kind of remove that scariness from talking to your professor. I myself was a peer mentor during my senior year in college, and I absolutely loved it. It was nice to be able to help freshmen their first year kind of navigate all of the things that come with college, all of the different services, and it really changed my life, and here I am, still talking about it, really enjoying it. So I see that we have another question.
Okay, so this could actually tie into my previous question. Is there a limit to how many organizations or clubs a student can get involved in, or is there like a cap or anything like that?
Yeah, so remember I talked about that overcommitted? There's a balance. There's no limit, but at the same time, your main responsibility is academics. So I don't want you to overdo it. You need rest, you need classes, you need to focus on your own personal health.
And there's some organizations, right, that are like really active, maybe that you take a leadership role in, because it's not just about being involved. You can also be a president of an organization, and all of that can go in your resume as well. And so some are a lot more active than others. Some are kind of just more, they'll meet up maybe once a month and it's just something to connect over. So it really just depends. So definitely listen to Dr. Briggs on that. Do not overcommit. Do not be me freshman year where I joined way too many organizations. I was being pulled way too many directions. Really find the ones that you really enjoy and kind of focus in, and maybe potentially get a leadership opportunity in those as well. I say that we have another question as well.
I'm loving how this conversation is kind of segueing to my other questions. So here's one for you guys. What is a piece of advice that you can give to students about time management?
One thing that I spend a lot of time explaining to students is that for every hour in class, you should probably expect to spend about 3 hours outside of class studying, writing, doing homework. And that's a big change for some folks. If you're coming straight out of high school, that may be very different than your high school experience. If you're coming to us maybe a little bit later, it's a whole different adjustment if you've been working. And so Dr. Briggs talked earlier about having all that free time, and that is such a huge transition for college students. Like, well, I have a class at 9, and then I don't have another class till 2. And on paper, oh, that looks awesome, right? But really what you should be doing is going and doing some studying or homework or just review from the class you just had. And we even know, we love research and data, and there has actually been some research done that some of our faculty friends cite that in math, particularly if you, after a math class, you go and do a review or a study or a homework session, you're just going to cement those concepts into your head and do much better in the class. And so we really advise students to be strategic about that. And I'm a planner person, so whether it's on paper or on your phone or whatever, the best advice I can say is to plan that kind of thing out, that commitment of outside of the class studying, organizations, sleep,
yes,
and going to class.
Write that down.
Write it down.
You have to put it down. I'm going to sleep during this time. I think another portion is taking advantage of, as I mentioned before, the resources and time management, utilizing tutoring. A lot of times folks don't want to use tutoring because they feel like, well, if I go to tutoring, that means I don't know. Well, the research actually shows the individuals who are successful are the ones who are actually utilizing tutoring. So making sure they're doing that. But overall, to answer your question as it relates to time management is writing it down, making sure that you're focusing on your schedule. A lot of times folks just kind of just go the way they want to go. And sometimes they miss out on things when they do that because, oh, I forgot I got an exam, or I forgot I need to study for the exam. It's coming up in a few weeks. And what I do, I wait to the end and I cram, which is the wrong thing to do. A lot of times people pride themselves on, doing those all-nighters or pulling those all-nighters to stay awake for, to study and then get ready for that exam at 8 o'clock. Well, biologically, you forget. Your body needs rest. So after so much time of just studying and not giving your body that rest, you forget. So taking care of yourself.
And definitely considering all the different things. As they mentioned, the tutoring center, most of the time there are students who are TAs who have been working with those professors, so they know a lot about what's going on in the classroom to help you kind of navigate there, sometimes even sit in your lectures, so they get to hear kind of what is being needed and what's being taught. So they're great to help you out with that. So please make sure you use all of your resources. And we also have a writing center, so also take advantage of that as well. We have another question.
Again, another segue question, which is great. So I know we briefly mentioned some of the facilities that Student Affairs offers for our students. So could you maybe list a few more of them that help our students that are struggling to get involved or anything like that?
I would say one of the easiest ways was one thing of our student activities office. Living on campus is a great way. So by you living on campus, you have your RAs who are essentially there to help you get connected to resources. Our student rec is another great place to learn about those resources. Our student center, which houses a lot of this information, a lot of these different departments, are some of the ways for folks to get connected. Eating, the dining hall, those are other great ways to really get connected and to meet others. We all need to eat. I like to eat, and it's an opportunity. And so do your faculty. They like to eat too. So I think it's taking advantage of those opportunities to be in a dining hall, to live on campus, to go to the rec, which is like kind of like a twofold. You're meeting people, but also at the same time, you're getting healthy. You're releasing those endorphins, which also helps you. That good stress. So taking advantage of those opportunities.
I heard that we also have adult and commuter services as well. Right. So for any students that maybe don't live on campus or can't live on campus, we have services to serve you as well if you're commuting. So we want to make sure that we're always serving you all and setting you up for success.
That is correct.
Anything else that you wanted to add, Dr. Ray?
Something we haven't talked about yet is our cultural and community centers.
Definitely.
So whether that's our Global Village, which works with international students, our CARC, our LGBTQ Resource Center. We have centers around different identities like that, and which can be a great support to students as you're navigating your college experience. And they also put on just great programs for everybody. So it's really important to try to take advantage of those resources as well, whether it's physically going to a resource center or reading the resources online or going to a program. And finally, I also want to mention owllife.kennesaw.edu. Some of that's going to be hidden behind a username and password, so you'll have to decide to come here to really get into all of it. But it's our main student organization website. And so if you're interested in seeing some of our 250 student organizations and the kind of events that they're doing, you should definitely check that out. So it's not a facility, but it's...
And so you mentioned the student center, right? So that means a lot of these different offices and centers are actually located in the same area, so students don't have to, you know, go far out to kind of find them, correct?
Yeah, you don't need to get lost like I did.
You'll get used to this campus soon.
Yes, and the last thing we want you to do is have to go, you know, wondering where these things are. So we're going to locate a lot of them together. So regardless of which campus you spend most of your time on, you're going to find a lot of these in our student centers, and then we've spread out to some other buildings as well. But even though we're a big school at 41,000 students, it doesn't always feel that big, which is one of the things I love about Kennesaw. And one of the ways that you can make it feel less big for yourself too is to find that niche, or maybe 2 or 3 niches. Is that the plural? I don't know. But to find some of those home away from homes where you can spend time and get to know other people.
Yeah, I think when I got involved in campus and started working on campus, I don't think I ever left. Easily I was there 8 a.m. and I might have left like at 11 or even later if I went to the library after. So I loved being on campus, so definitely. We have another question as well from our audience.
Yes, so this is a little bit different in terms of services offered, but I was hoping y'all could speak on, I know y'all mentioned counseling services obviously, as well as maybe highlight some of the other services similar to that. So I guess student disability services would fall under that, and health services that we offer on our campuses as well for people.
Yeah, so if you get sick, like you get a cold, catch a flu, you don't have to just rush off campus. We actually have health services located here on campus, which I think is really important. Our Center for Youth, Young Adult Addiction and Recovery is another great area for our students to really learn not only about themselves, but also to really focus on self-help, but also self-care. I think those are some other great ways and great areas for our students to take care of themselves. I mentioned the rec before. That's another great way to take care of yourself health-wise. There's a lot of different resources that are here on both campuses, so taking advantage of the campuses I think is really important.
And I wanted to ask, what about students maybe experiencing food insecurity? Do you have anything, maybe you can mention what food insecurity is and then what kind of resources you have for those students?
Yes, our care team, awesome. Marcy and her team are awesome. We have food pantries on both campuses, specifically for exactly that, food insecurity. So those students who, and which is reality, you know, students who come to college have ran into those challenges where the money is going toward, you know, they're focused on their education and the resources that are there, and they may not necessarily have just enough to really cover, you know, meals for the rest of the week. And I think our care team really focuses on that. So that food pantry is taking advantage of the resources that are there. They actually, what's really awesome about it is they literally can go online and type in the information that they're looking for and actually go virtually shopping. We have student staff that are there that will actually virtually go shopping for you, create a basket for you, and then you just come to campus and pick it up. And on both campuses they can do that. So I think that's really awesome.
Yeah. We had another question? Yeah.
And with those services, like everything, I mean, y'all spoke on a couple different things there. They are included with the cost of Kennesaw State, and the fees that are included, or are those things they're going to have to pay for additionally?
It is a part of their tuition. It's a part of their college experience, yes.
So absolutely free for them in that sense. Students are able to use this food pantry. They'll have their hours. Sometimes there are different times of the week, but students are able to go there. Really, there's no kind of judgment in any capacity. This food is for you all. You all are able to use it to what you all need. And sometimes it's also fresh food. It's not just canned food. There's a lot of that stuff that way you can use throughout your diet while you're here.
Different question from a different audience tuning in. So with the time of students getting stepping into a new chapter of their life, it's also a new chapter for our parents. So how do our parents get involved now that their kid is here at Kennesaw State?
That is perfect, because not only is it a new experience that you mentioned before for the students, it's also something for the parents. I think being involved in our parent-family programs, our parent-family association, is so critical, because the information that our parents are receiving is one, to actually keep them abreast of what's happening at the university and opportunities for our families to be involved, but also another resource for our students, because the information that they'll be receiving from our team, shout out to Sharon, they provide that information to let you know, hey, this deadline is coming up, or hey, this experience is getting ready to come up. How about you get your student involved in these different opportunities, or remind your student that finals are coming up. Like for instance, registration started last week, reminding our students to register for classes for the spring semester.
I had one, again, a little bit different. I'm throwing you all over the place here.
Okay,
But
love it. That's what we're here
in
for.
regards to positions that are a little bit more leadership based on campus for students to get involved and really impact some change for the institution, are there any opportunities y'all would like to speak on regarding that? Just kind of some opportunities like that. Yeah.
So one of the offices I work with is the Office of Student Leadership and Service. And so our folks in those areas are doing amazing programming, even now when we can't really take large numbers of students off campus to do service events. They're working to find virtual service events. They also have different groups of students. I think I mentioned engaged OWL leaders, a little bit of a tongue twister there earlier, and different peer mentoring groups, a lot of civic engagement to get students into the community, to work on issues that are important to them and projects that are important to them. So that office is going to be key for students' experiences.
I would also say the definite opportunities for hands-on experience, being involved in student organizations, so being a part of our Student Government Association, being a part of our activities boards, it positions you to not only learn on the field, but also provides you that opportunity, as I mentioned before, the skill building aspect of the critical thinking, how to think on your feet. I think those are great opportunities for our students to really hone in and develop those skills, but also develop the confidence. And at the same time, their support is there, because I subscribe to that philosophy. We never want our students to fail, and we believe in that, so we always want to make sure our students are successful.
Yeah, and you'll get it a lot. Let's say in future job interviews, people might ask you, what's the biggest challenge you ever faced, or a time, where you had to make a difficult decision. A lot of these things are usually answered and experienced through student activities. This is when you really get to put that real life experience out there. Yes, you get it in your classroom, but I think I was always able to speak about it more when I thought about leadership skills I built in a student organization.
Very true. Student organizations, I would also say being an RA, you learned a lot, because not only you're helping students, but you're learning how to navigate different situations.
And an RA means what again?
Resident assistant. So living on campus, but also as part of living on campus, the ability to really lead a group of students. So a lot of our upper division students who are RAs, they work with our first year students and our upper division students to help them get connected to the resources and help them get acclimated to the institution, just like someone else did for them.
Yes, we have a question.
All right, so here is another question speaking from another student group. So what are some of the resources that maybe some of our families involved in the military, or students coming in from the military, being gone for a while, what kind of services do they have coming into Kennesaw State?
So I work with our Military and Veteran Services Office particularly, and we have centers on both campuses that provide some community, just places to be, to hang out with other students who are veterans, or students whose parents were veterans who are maybe here on those benefits as well. And our staff in those offices work to create community, but they also work to help our students figure out how to apply their benefits. We also have folks who come in from the VA on a regular basis to work with our students. So whether you're trying to figure out how to utilize your GI Bill benefits, or if you're navigating a return from a combat situation where you are trying to figure out what accommodations you're gonna need, or just even how coming out of the military, how to navigate that college experience is a big transition. And our staff there are really dedicated to working with that. We have 3 staff members on both campuses, and again, we have resource centers on both campuses. And there's also folks outside of student affairs in, say, financial aid and the registrar's office who are experts in that kind of thing as well. And so we spend a lot of our time connecting students with them and helping them figure out how all this is going to work, but also just to feel comfortable here and be successful here.
And a lot of our staff within the office also has military background.
Yes,
correct?
all of them do.
Yeah. So definitely has that experience to be able to kind of empathize and understand this whole new environment with you all. We have another question as well.
You mentioned accommodations. Is there a time period you would give potential students who are interested in KSU if they are needing accommodations when they come on campus, when they would need to look into that? Would it be something they need to look into right before classes or well in advance of that?
Oh, no, I think the earlier the better. So as they're accepted into the institution, I know a lot of students who are coming from high school, they have an IEP program or have an IEP. And with that, as they're going through orientation, getting connected with our student disability services team. They really work with our students and making sure they're getting the appropriate accommodations for their classes as well as navigating the institution. So making sure they're taking advantage of that. That's also a resource that's actually located on both campuses. So we want to make sure that our students are getting those appropriate resources. Great question.
Yeah, please make sure to let your admissions counselors know that visit your high schools. Let them know if you have an IEP. We can't know if you need accommodations if you don't self-disclose. We're not allowed to ask you in any capacity. You have to let us know. This is how we'll be able to connect you with the student disability services so that they do have some paperwork. I would say that it might take maybe about 2 months to kind of get all of it together before your first time getting accommodations your first semester. So please make sure you do that earlier than later. As soon as you know that you've been accepted, let your admissions counselor know so that we can make sure to connect you to those accommodations. You have everything from like extra testing, right? Extra testing time. And even now I've seen that students also within our Zoom classes have ability for captions in case you need that. There's a lot more.
Yeah, note taking resources, so like Kurzweil and Dragon. And what I think what's also awesome about that is that students can actually do it in advance. They can actually go online and actually get registered. And then from there, their counselor will actually reach out to them to set up a time so that we can go through what are the different resources that they necessarily need.
Yeah, it's a lot. I think they even can convert all of the books into Braille.
That is correct.
So lots of accommodations, I would say even more than in your high school. So please make sure you take advantage of that because like we said, we are invested in your success.
It can be a big change from high school in my experience. Going from having an IEP or a 504 plan, at least in the state of Georgia, can be a big transition into college because some of the documentation requirements here are different from high school to college. I'm not sure if that's true in every state, but my experience has been in the state of Georgia. And so that's one of the reasons we really recommend you start early.
Yes.
Yes, please. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so here, kind of changing gears here. So we have a few questions about our sports and recreation. So let's say with our NCAA Division I teams, we don't have a specific team for the men's or women's. Do we offer intramural sports or anything like that?
Yes.
So many.
So many. Club sports is definitely another big drive. Our students are very competitive, which I think is great. So those opportunities are definitely there. And if there's a particular sport or a particular activity that isn't there, all you got to do is just reach out to us and let us know what you're looking for. We want to make sure that we'll be able to provide that for you.
I was an ultimate Frisbee champ for my intramural sports, so it was good. I was also the last goal or whatever we call it, touchdown, I don't even know. But, I was just at the sport. I don't know the names for it. Now I think it's gotten really complicated, but, back then, definitely. So I loved intramurals. And you get to select your own team as well, right? You get to meet with other students. And if you don't know anyone, you can just go to rec. I think all the individuals and staff are fantastic there. They'll set you up with a team in case you're interested in a sport. If someone needs a player, everyone's happy as long that they all want to cheer you on, but it does get pretty competitive, I've heard, for sure.
Yeah.
And if team sports aren't your thing, then we also have exercise classes and things like that as well. Even today, in today's COVID world, we have had Zumba on the green. I think there's a yoga class going on every hour of the day that I walk out of the building. There's outdoor yoga going on.
For like sunrise yoga or something like that.
So there's really a lot of opportunities, whether team sports or individual participation is more your jam. You can definitely get involved in that.
Is it true that there's also stuff like outdoor sports and stuff like that? I've heard because we have so much outdoorsy stuff that we can do. Not my forte, but I definitely have heard of it. Is that true?
Absolutely. So we have groups that will go hiking and camping, again, probably in less socially distanced times, probably a little bit less of that, but it's Bike-tober right now, and so we have some bike events going on. You can also rent bikes and different equipment for your own adventures. And so regardless of what you'd like to do, you know, we are just in a fantastic geographic location here for everything from, you know, the advantages of you know, having a large city nearby to being able to get to the mountains really easily. And so those of you who are local will know that. Those of you who might be coming to us from farther away will probably be excited to discover that, and we can help you get involved regardless. But yeah, we offer a lot of services like that for students.
Fantastic. I think we have, time for
one last question. I'm sorry, but as far as organizations, I know we've talked a lot about organizations, especially ones that people that are on campus can get involved with, those that are living on campus. Do we have some different organization groups geared towards older students that are available? Some I would imagine that are a little bit more flexible in their schedules and how they meet around people who have like families and then work full-time jobs and stuff like that?
Yes, I mean, there are organizations that focus on every category of students, which I think is really awesome. It shows the fact that our institution is inclusive. And it's one thing of actually meeting in person, but there's also those opportunities to actually meet virtually.
One of the neatest things that a couple of our student workers in our Adult and Commuter Resource Center at Marietta actually started, I think they use GroupMe, and then they also used a couple other different things. I'm sure folks are using Slack and other technologies, but to have a kind of a virtual hangout, whether it's synchronous or asynchronous, and they were really excited about that, so that even though students couldn't necessarily come in and hang out in the resource center or come to a meeting, that there was that kind of online presence going on. So there's a lot of creativity that we're seeing as well.
And so those are all really great, especially when thinking about, like you mentioned, students that are commuter students or are adult students. There's also grad organizations that you can be part of, just even if you're not in grad school. There are some, because a lot of our grad students tend to have families or be adult, more adult students, I guess, because y'all are still adults at this point when you get over here. So we want to make sure that, you know, you can still get involved in that way and find community.
I agree.
So any advice that you have for students about getting involved, or anything, especially for a lot of our audience looking in today and parents and stuff like that?
Yeah, I would share, as far as for our students, taking advantage of the opportunities immediately. You definitely want to take advantage of the resources as you get acclimated to the institution. And for our family members, communication is key. Both ways. It's communicating with the university, but also communicating with your students. Once your students get acclimated to the institution, there's a lot of times that they get so busy that they forget to call home, right? Which freaks out the parents. So making sure you're setting a time, a day and time where you're connecting with your students, and making sure that we're being a resource for you all, for you as well as for your student. I always share that, particularly for the Dean of Students office, we want to be that one-stop shop. So if family members have questions or concerns and don't necessarily know who to call, easiest way, Dean of Students office, Dean of Students at kennesaw.edu, easiest way. Or you can actually just go into the website and just Google Dean of Students, and we can connect with you from there.
Well said. You know, I think from years of watching students go off to college, and I'm assuming I'm talking mostly to students who are maybe finishing up high school, but also if you're one of our adult returning students, go ahead and have those conversations now about how life is going to look different when you come to college, so you can start making those plans. And some of that's dreaming about things that you want to do differently, or make different choices, or just make good choices now. But also, some of it is talking about how life is going to change at home. It's such an exciting time, regardless of what stage of life you're coming to us from. And we're just so excited to welcome you here.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you all so much. This was our last session. I think it was great. I think it was fantastic to have you all spend your time with us today. And I know that I think this is the first time I see so many questions from our audience. It makes me really excited. Awesome. I've been in the chat, y'all, in case you remember me. So please make sure to look up the Office of Dean of Students, also the Office of Student Activities, and so much more that is here for you. Also, thank you for joining us again, Dr. Briggs and Dr. Ray. Again, my name is Norma Nunez Pacheco. I'm one of the admissions counselors. Please don't hesitate to contact us. We are here for you. And don't forget about your last chance to sign up for this raffle in case, I know the link is on the chat. In case you just signed in later with us, make sure that you sign up for this. It's tons of good. I wish I could keep it, but I had to reject those rights because, well, it's for you all. We will be letting the winner know, I believe, next week, so please tune in for that. And with that said, we always love to close with our Hooty Hoo and Owl Eyes, so if you all would like to join me, Hooty Hoo! Hooty Hoo!
You don't go to Kennesaw State just for a degree. You go to find your element. You go to find your rhythm. You go to find your community. You go to find your wings. Find your wings at Kennesaw State University.
Welcome to KSU. Parent and Family Programs is excited to be the first step on your journey alongside your KSU OWL. Through our digital experience, you'll find wonderful opportunities, even now, to become informed and engaged while supporting your new OWL. Enjoy the different communities of interest, tailored updates and newsletters, calendar of events, as well as support through our caring and dedicated staff. Later, we'll provide you with additional amazing resources as well as unique involvement opportunities, both for you and your student. We strive to keep you involved, informed, and invested every step of the way. Get started today. Kennesaw.campusesp.com.
Greetings and welcome to Kennesaw State University. I'm Dr. Sylvia Carey Butler, Chief Diversity Officer here at Kennesaw, and I work in the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, where we are charged with fostering an inclusive learning and work environment that promotes an understanding of and appreciation for differences, and through our initiatives and programs, services, and trainings offered. The Office of Diversity and Inclusion offers a variety of learning and work opportunities. We have our Student Diversity Ambassadors program, where students get a chance to participate in programs that help their peers to have a welcoming and affirming experience. The Student Diversity Ambassadors receive a yearly stipend and expand the reach of the office. The Office of Diversity and Inclusion offers a wide variety of workshops such as developing cultural competencies, unconscious bias, and how to become an ally. Our office also hires student workers who have the opportunity to assist with programming and research as we prepare for campus events. We hope that you will choose to come to Kennesaw State University and take advantage of the many opportunities that Kennesaw State has to offer students. What separates us from other colleges and universities is our diversity. We are a vibrant and authentically diverse community committed to your success and engagement. I look forward to seeing you on campus. Go Future Owls.